Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of By the Numbers, the quintessential Counter-Strike podcast. I am your host, Richard Lewis. Joining me, as he's been known to do from time to time, it's Duncan Thorin Shields. We've been super busy this week. Obviously, we've been streaming all of the games of the Major, and that means that, of course, it's a reminder that this podcast is produced in partnership with Rivalry.gg. If you want to go over and bet in a safe and ethical environment on the Major, I suggest you go and do it over there. It's rivalry.gg/RLS. You'll qualify for up to $350 of special member bonuses. And more importantly, to me, of course, you will be supporting this channel, supporting this show, supporting the content, and I suppose bilaterally also the No Majors Club, which, as I was saying on Twitter today, Duncan, becomes something of a labor of love. Actually, I didn't really quite know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah, put it when you told me, like, we'll just stream all the games. I was like, I don't always wake up that early, Richard. Yeah. And I can't lie to you, even if I did wake up early, probably not going to watch, fucking Vega Squadron versus Cloud9. I'm going to give some of these a wide berth. I can't lie. I've seen enough games in my life to know which ones to skip. Also, to be fair, you did stream all the games. Yeah. You didn't talk about all the games, though. And people might wonder, that's weird. How's that possible? Some of you tune in might just be a 40-minute discussion about some of the happening Scoots life. There are like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's part of the charm, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I've only missed one half of this Major. So yeah, I've been getting up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., streaming for 14 hours or whatever the fuck it is. And then, and I've got some, we're coming towards the end of the Major. We'll talk about the quarterfinals on this show. But I'm lining up some special guests, getting in some players, some ex-players, maybe a coach or two, big names, going to come and do the No Majors Club. Can't say too much about it, but I promise you there will be some big names involved in the broadcast. Certainly bigger than me, maybe not bigger than Thorin. You know how that is. He's always got to be number one. But look, let's talk about the Major. All of these wonderful games that we got to see. We'll start with some talk about the tournament so far. I guess since our last episode was absolutely wrecking faces.
First out was fun. I thought it was good.
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very cathartic. I thought it was pretty much saying everything the community, of course, not the Reddit community, obviously, who just love facing no matter what. But I think, but Counter-Strike community in general. I still feel this has been the poorest Major to date, but I will add that they did turn the corner exceptionally well. We've had very limited downtime. The hotfix for the footsteps problem was rolled out. The games have been coming thick and fast with very few tech delays.
There was something.
What's that?
Well, obviously, also the eggs. I mean, there was an unlimited.
Yes.
The restrictions on the quantity of eggs was fully lifted.
Yes.
And from then on, wait a second. I'm getting word in my ear. What's that? The eggs are finally arriving at the venue. The eggs are all being brought. Oh no, there's been a tragic accident. It turns out the person carrying them had put all the eggs in one basket. He's fallen over anyway. Right, whatever.
Yeah, brilliant. No, I'm glad you shoehorned that in. But Valve yes, in many ways put all the eggs in one basket, I believe. But anyway, look, I want to get you to say this. I think it's important coming from you. They've definitely had a much better second week. Agreed?
Oh, yeah. I didn't actually notice many problems in the second week generally, especially because, here's one factor we didn't bother mentioning before, by the way, is in week one, I know everyone thinks MSL's the biggest whiner in the scene, but that's just because MSL loses a lot of Counter-Strike games. Therefore, he's not allowed to whine. All you need to know is I didn't see almost a peep from Fallen, Zeus. Mm-hmm. These are the names, Taco. These are the names who would have been all over your fucking Twitter timeline and, as a result, Reddit, because of the selective way that mods let certain tweets onto Reddit and complain all the time. So, yeah, I think by the looks of it, the second week, all the tech problems were gone generally. There's the odd maybe pause or something, but that's pretty standard for a major as it is. I will say, I do think actually bizarrely, I can't think of many majors like this, but it does feel like there haven't been that many great games so far. But to be fair, that's not on Face It. They don't decide the format.
No,
and
sure,
as I always say, format is what's going to determine whether you have great games. And then you need a bit of luck as well, which is another factor, right? A lot of the tournaments that I thought of as the best tournaments ever, some of them are the old ones that don't even have a great format. They just had amazing games, didn't they? So that's by the by, obviously.
Yeah, and I think it's been interesting to say the games have got better for me as the tournaments run on. We seem to be moving away from, apart from the Cloud9 games, but we've certainly been moving away from the grueling overtime on Inferno bullshit that we've sort of had to cope with almost relentlessly over the course of the major. And you're right, you can't put it on face it that the games haven't been particularly memorable. In a lot of instances. I mean, it's thrown up very few classics. I almost want to say there's external forces for that too. Like, listen, Face It have fucked up a bunch, but they've definitely not been lucky in terms of all of the periphery stuff. For example, having a major coming straight out of a player break has served up some very insipid, low-level Counter-Strike.
The number of the top teams, like a no joke, I think almost every single top team except Team Liquid has played at either a worse or much worse level than before the play break.
Oh, absolutely. And it contributes to, hey, the tournament's wide open. Brilliant. It contributes to upset results. Also brilliant. But for people that want to watch technical Counter-Strike, I almost feel like there was nothing before that, before the stage we're at now that would sort of wet that particular whistle. Like you've got maybe the Astralis NIP game, which I think was really, really solid. Team Liquid, when they won in overtime against Astralis was really, really fucking good. But in general, it's been pretty poor. And these player breaks, we talked about it before. If you're going to have a player break, don't treat it all as a holiday. We had some people come on the stream saying, oh, they definitely don't do that. You do half and half. Some players definitely have done that. And I understand it, if you're burnt out and you go on a...
That is why it's called the player break.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not much of a break if you're practicing. But they shouldn't really have a major scheduled after the player break. In many ways, it would be better if it was just before, so people were at the peak, the apex summit, whatever you want to say.
For me, I think
into a break after you've crowned a world champion.
To me, you can solve literally 3 problems in one go. If you schedule a major to be the last tournament before the break, so you finish that sort of segment, season, as it were, if you want to label it that, you give people the break they need. There's number 2. And number 3, I think that's when you should make your map pool change so that, people then start on the new map for the next season or whatever you want to call it, the next section of the year. And then you also get great Counter-Strike. So for me, that would solve a lot of the problems that to Valve, they don't care. These are just minor issues to them, to them if the tournament runs, the tournament runs. But to you or I think this would just raise the quality a little bit. It's not a big ask either. We're just saying shuffle it around a bit. There's no extra money being paid or anything.
Yeah. So look, let's get into some of the storylines that have been emerging coming out of the major. I'm going to focus on the bad before we get into the good, as is my way. Very much a glass is half empty kind of guy.
You know what? Sometimes it's just too much bloody bad. You don't get to all that brilliant good stuff. The thing is, you'd be doing loads of videos, Rich, but you just got to I've just got to shovel all this shit out first to get to the diamonds. Okay, there's definitely some down there, guys. Just wait, promise.
Yeah, honestly. But let's. I think the biggest disappointment so far of this major, just in terms of, there's a coin toss. I think we had a discussion about it, but I'm going to say for me, I think mousesports. Unbelievable level of talent on that roster. They come into this tournament, many people's dark horse pick to surprise. Talks of them having gone away and had a boot camp, and they're coming in raring to go. They finally figured out what Snax' role in the team is going to be, and basically what you end up with is a mousesports that don't win. Rops is really, really poor. Which is always a bad sign. I mean, poor by his high standards. And then one of the bottom 3 players of the tournament was Snax himself, who had a real rough time of things. Now, we all know that there's rumors around this team right now. The word on the street, and we'll link into a DK report. We'll segue into that in just a moment. Is that Oscar is out the door, possibly for Bialy to have a reunion with Snax. Don't really know if that's the answer. Sure, Chris J can start opening again. I'm sure he'll do a great job because it's always Chris J that's got to flex and change to basically make this team work. But I think even if you're having inter-team problems, the level of performance, the level of commitment here from mousesports was really shocking. I mean, borderline shameful. That this is a major and you've come and look, Rops, you can tweet, I will not go home if you rock up into the game and get 5 fucking kills or whatever, you are absolutely going to go home.
Yeah.
And it just looked to me that they were kind of like just spinning the wheels until they can get this team roster changing, which is fine. You want to do that at a dream hack. I don't think anyone's going to raise an eyebrow. But not finding a way to make it work, not finding a way to galvanize at a major, I'd certainly be disappointed if I was a Mouse Sports fan or indeed Mouse Sports management. So I wanted your take on it. What do you think?
Yeah, the part that's inexcusable is that, as you say, in getting Snacks, they put, in theory, more talent into the team. So this was a team that I already thought was a pretty skilled team because they had that core that was they were just so reliable. You know, you knew one of them was going to go ham. Usually 2 out of the 3 do pretty well. And as a result, they were always in these matches. Famously, even when they lost, they usually lost in 3 maps or they had a close game. Like, they were a hard team to beat. Nobody wanted to play Mouse Sports in theory. But this Mouse Sports is dreadful. Like, I know it sounds weird because on the one hand, they did beat FaZe and go to the A-League semi-finals. They went to the semi-finals, obviously, at DreamHack Stockholm. These sound like good results still, but even the way they did it didn't look legit. Like, every time I would look at their map pool, in fact, as you saw here, they didn't have a map pool. Like, either they were going to be good on all maps, which is implausible, or they just actually won, in my opinion, on the maps they did win, just off the individual players. Like, they won with some people having big games. Because, see these maps they played here, Mirage and Dust 2, these were maps they were playing heavily. Remember, Dust 2 is the one that they absolutely smashed North on. So where's their map pool? Mirage was one that was absolutely in vogue for them again. Classic map for Snacks. So, to me, this entire team, I said it a few events ago, and people think it's just the whole Snacks thing because he tweeted at me or whatever. People don't realise, if someone's a sick player, this happened before, if someone's a sick player and he tweets a diss at me, I don't then just call him a shit player. He still gets to be a sick player and talk shit. There we go. But if someone is an obvious problem in his team and underperforming, and then that is why he talks shit, well, yeah, I'm not going to have any qualms about saying he is fucking shit. Snacks ruined Mouse Sports. What a terrible pickup. And I don't know what they've done with this team, because as I alluded to before, this goes beyond Snacks. As you're saying here, now the move is Oscar has to get kicked. Don't know why. Don't know what Oscar's done exactly. But as I said, apparently some sort of personal issue. And probably the most egregious part of all of this for me is that the player I have heard repeatedly, not like directly in real rumors that he's definitely going to this team, but intimated like people are interested in him, maybe he'll go to a bigger team, is Sonny. Now, if Sonny was in any way to do with these roster moves, he is everything I fucking hate about CS players, where it's like, oh, all right, mate, so I'm your star player, so give me a lot of say in your team, right? Yeah, sure, definitely do that because I want to keep you happy. Oh, fuck the whole team up. Anyway, I'm going to leave actually and go to this better team, so enjoy your fucked team that you spent loads of money on. Say, yeah, it's like that. Oh, then again, to be honest, if that really is what happened, I guess the Mouse Sports guy deserves that, doesn't he? If he's just going to give the maniacs control of the whole team, you got to have some say on what you do.
Yeah, I mean, look, so some responses to that. First of all, I want to cast everyone's mind back in the scene to a Mouse Sports that was number 2 in the world, or was on the precipice of being number 1 if they
won championships.
Yep. And that was with a little player that you might have heard of, a guy called Stiko. And people were absolutely adamant Stiko was terrible. They were absolutely adamant that Stiko had nothing to offer to any team. That actually cutting him for anybody was definitely the way to go. Even people were even saying, oh, nothing when he stood in had higher stats than him. So it's interesting, isn't it? I've said this often. If you want to be a really successful team in Counter-Strike, it's like being a successful alcoholic. You need an enabler. And Stiko is that enabler. He's done, it's different at Cloud9. He's running around trying to impress people because he's in the fucking shop window and he's straight dropping bombs. And, when he was in Mouse Sports, that wasn't his remit. You don't need to do that. You got fucking Rops who can run around, and do that. Stiko was enabling everyone else. He's the guy who sits under the fucking window on Mirage with a fucking flashbang out, ready to die so he can blind 4 people so you can clean up. He's the guy who'll bait for somebody else. He's the guy that'll go first into the uncertain position. He's the guy who'll buy time for his teammates, not going for the glory of getting kills, but just running around terrain. And obviously this has a huge detrimental impact on your statistics, but everybody wants to play with a player like Stiko. The problem Mouse Sports had for me, it got inside their head that they should have been number 1, could have been number 1, and they thought, well, the answer, we can't accept number 2, even though within context where they are now, that would be fucking brilliant, right? That would be brilliant. That's like making it to the quarterfinals, maybe beyond of a major. They instead decide we have got to make a roster change. And obviously with everything that goes on behind the scenes, Mouse Sports had that direct line to Virtus Pro. They saw the wheels were coming off. You've got to remember, they've let Stico kind of go out for a very small amount and paid huge money. Even within, we're talking 300,000, I think was the number that was kicked around for Snacks to come in. And there is no possibility that this can ever be a like-for-like substitution. Do you ever think Snacks is going to be the guy dying with a flashbang out to enable a teammate to get 4 kills off an eco rush? No. No is the answer to that. Snacks is somebody who's been in the top 5 players in the world, is considered a huge star, and certainly within his mind is a huge star, and absolutely is not going to do any of that shit. Now, you've got a problem here. There's no one else on the roster who is willing to do any of that, so somehow you have to completely revise how the team works and make Snacks fit in and make everyone fit around how Snacks fits in. This is an unbelievable amount of work for a team that was pretty much working. It was doing what it was supposed to do. Yes, they were in a slow decline.
Yes.
We all saw
as
that.
some of the other teams got things together and, made
moves. Of course.
Yeah.
A slow decline is better than a cataclysmic fucking free fall hurtling towards the concrete with no parachute, which is pretty much where they are right now. Now, one thing I'll also add, I agree with you. Oscar hasn't done anything, but I'll also tell you this. I've said it many times on the show. I'll say it again. He's a fucking basket case. He is a cauldron of emotions, and unfortunately, too often, it's not just like he doesn't want to hang out after the game, right? That's fine. It's not that he has some very weird thoughts and isn't like your typical Counter-Strike player. That's fine. The players have clearly made that accommodation when they brought him back off the bench. They're saying, look, you've got your right to be fucking weird, and we're fine with it. The problem is his emotional comfort informs his gameplay way too often for a high-level pro, and I support removing him. Honestly, if you've got to remove somebody, I didn't support removing Stico, but if you want to go down the route of bringing in star players and trying to give yourself an upgrade, and you're going to try and find a way to make the system work, then yeah, Oscar's got to go, because all too often, I think we saw it at this major, pretty much. Like everyone on the team to a degree, was non-existent, didn't really do much, didn't have those big performances where he takes over games, had some very quiet performances, was missing shots, was inconsistent, didn't seem like he wanted to be there at all, and that's probably because he didn't want to be there at all. And obviously, look, it's a chicken and egg situation. What comes first? Obviously, Oscar's heard the rumors, and me and you have heard the rumors.
Absolutely,
Oscar's heard the rumors as well. So, you've got to handle that information. But straight up, man, he would have to be the one to go. You throw in if Sonny leaves.
That's the end of this team. He was throwing the fucking bin.
He's statistically the best performer on the team.
Of course, yeah.
So if Sonny goes, you've lost the star player who isn't the star player, the big pistol player, and what you're going to bring in. Listen, I don't know if Bialy and Snacks ever get back to what they were. So if Bialy comes in and then another one comes in,
that tilts me to no end, mate, because here's the thing. I'm not joking. The amount of fucking morons who the last so Snacks has been in the team for, I think, 4 events.
Yeah.
Every single event, just give him time. Just give him time. Just wait. I've even had the logic, if you were once one of the best players, you can do it again. Same people, next breath.
Heard that.
Could get right. It's like, fucking hell. It's just, there's no logic. By the way, these aren't logical reasonings, Like the logic of, if you did something in the past, you will do it again. That doesn't follow at all. I'd probably say move over to the stock market. Probably the thing for you. You probably won't go bust or anything. Yeah, as you say, the problem with that one is, Richard, okay, make a case for removing Oscar. I've done it myself before. I've said, if you needed to get, put it this way, if I could get Nico, Oscar's gone tomorrow. The problem is, if you go, right, we've got rid of Oscar, don't worry, I've got Bialy. Right, why have you done that then? Why are we doing that? So we're getting a Bialy we don't even know can work to replace an Oscar who did work but had a few issues. So it sounds like the same move they just did before. A player that had issues but was working in the team, removed for a player who still wants to convince you the year has a fucking 6 on the end.
So, we can move that into the report by DK. DK put out his sources say, which is kind of like a column, if you want to call it that, where he's talking about things that are going on the scene, from a journalistic perspective, not actual reports and stories, but rumors that are out there, what sources are saying, hence the name. And he's pretty much confirming everything we're talking about here. Basically, just saying, look, this is where we're at. Like Bialy is going to be in on this team. That they're going to try and spend the money to get his buyout, which he's still bound under. Apparently, Bialy hasn't even decided whether he still wants to be a professional CS player or not. I mean, I can understand how you would have all joy for it killed playing in Virtus Pro, but I'd like to see him give it another roll of the dice. I just think this is almost the case about the frying pan into the fire, right, for him. I'm sure you've got snacks there, but what else are you going to be going into? So Mousesports is a team that are definitely going to be going backwards before they go forwards. Interestingly enough, DK also says another name that got talked about was Twist, who got benched by Red Reserve, right? Now, there's no fucking way, surely, Twist would play in this lineup. This is a player that has made it quite abundantly clear throughout his career that he only wants to play with his friends, his colleagues, whatever you want to call them, people he likes, people he respects, and has turned down, NIP, Fnatic, and I can't imagine him wanting to take the plunge into taking the game seriously with what is clearly a dysfunctional international lineup. But these are the names that are being touted. And again, the fact that there's more than one name being touted does suggest maybe there's more than one cut to be made, which is, like I say, terrifying. I agree with you. I think if you let Sunny go out the door, it's pretty much the end of Mousesports as an international Counter-Strike force, and it'll take them months to basically go away and try and fix everything and make the system work. I don't even know if there is a system where you can make all of those names work in a team.
Yeah, especially because this is the part where it's like, okay, just because international teams work doesn't mean they work in every possible scenario. Like, if these guys were all from fucking Sweden with these personalities and playing styles, I'd say that won't work. Like, look at the lineup. Your balance is all over the place. You've got players who all want to be doing the same role. Like, imagine if the team has Bialy in instead of Oscar. You've got like 4 players who want to be an aggressive fucking rifler. Is this a joke?
Yeah. 2
of them play Lurk style. Like, what is this? Like, you can't make a team like that. Like, that's why I'm actually amazed that Nip's managing to make it work. Like, I'd have to guess, you know what, as much as I might have to do it begrudgingly, I probably have to, so as we haven't brought him up on Nip's past runs, you probably have to give some credit to Peter. Maybe he's done something to help him with the coaching aspect, because they have rejuvenated that squad. I don't believe it was just Lekro who figured out coaching by going, I seem to remember Pronax, who was shit when he was your in-game leader, by the way, Lekro. I seem to remember how he in-game led, and therefore I'm doing it. So yeah, I don't think that's really what's going on, but that's up there with the Dossier 200 IQ nade. Like, there was a nade, but yeah, did you know what you're doing? I don't know. That's all we need to know. So, on far the Twist one goes, listen, mate, I know people still want to believe, like, but imagine if he did. He's one of those players I gave up on years ago, because remember, you have to literally go back like 4 years now when he's getting these offers and turning them down. Now, here's what's funny. The last time we saw him be really good was when he was in Fnatic, when they did the Godsent swap, if you remember. And actually, Fnatic made it to top 4 that major, lost to Astralis, who won the E-League major that time, Atlanta. Now, here's the funniest part of that story. So you got to play with Olofmeister, Dennis. You even had a close map against the eventual champions. You're top 4 in the majors again. You're back at the majors, baby. Then the other Fnatic players come back, right? You'd be thinking, you'd be going, fuck, what is this? I've been screwed. Mate, he was happy to go back to Godsent. That's how this guy's mind works. Yeah. He wanted the fuck off a team with people he didn't necessarily want to play with, back to the loving arms of Godsent, mediocrity and tier 3 lands, it appears. So, like, at that point in time, like, if he himself doesn't believe himself or doesn't want to play at the top level, I'm cool just letting him go, you know. It's not like we're talking about some simple or something like that. It's just a good player, someone who had some talent. So I have to agree. If he goes to Mousesports, that just smacks of like he had nowhere else to go, just weird desperation. And in that scenario, if you think fucking Oscar's a problem, buckle up.
Yeah,
You're gonna love
if you
this
think you're
one.
getting someone with the winning mentality, Twist ain't it. And listen, I said this though. Playing in Red Reserve is a very fucking different beast to being benched by Red Reserve. Who the fuck wants that on their fucking resume? I can't even get a game with these fucking part-timers. And we know Twist has talent. He's just, he's just not a winner, is he? He's not interested in that. He's not interested in getting to the peak. But yeah, so Mousesports for me, all sorts of problems, hugely disappointing. And then next up, while we're talking about disappointments, we've already talked about them a little bit. Cloud9, they were one of my picks to go 0-3. I certainly would have transposed them with Mouse Sports in my pick. But fortunately for them, they were able to eke out a win in overtime after leading 12-3 at half-time over Winstrike. And I said the only way Cloud9 could avoid going 0-3, in my humble opinion, was if they came up against Winstrike, and lo and behold, it happened for them. So I guess they've avoided the worst case scenario of having that 0-3, kind of on the resume.
A major spot.
Yeah, but I mean, they were an absolute fucking shambles. I mean, they were so bad. No, listen, I don't even know what was going on here, because you had Skadoodle had some terrible games to begin with, and he had some good performances later on. Like Automatic, obviously, is fucking the best thing on the team right now. Rush just seems adrift. Like, he just looks to have checked out, which isn't like him, right? Like, he's usually the good all-round, model professional. And
though, that also happened to him when Stanislaw left Optic. Yeah. So similar scenario. One of the people he wants to play with leaves, and then just checks out. Because here's the thing. In a way, I can't blame him, because if you're someone like he is and the kind of roles he plays, you're all in, and it's like that scenario where it's like, you're never going to get credit, so you better win the fucking game. So if we're not even winning, well, I don't think I will go all in at this point in time. I can kind of get that in a way. Not a fan of it personally, but okay, I can understand it, put it that way.
Yeah, and people are going to say, oh, but they had some close games. They had that overtime with Hellraisers. They were terrible. I think some of the worst games they sat through this major in terms of quality were the Cloud9 matches. They were absolutely awful to watch. And, it kind of... This was the risk, right, of Golden going to this team. Let's be clear. Sure, on paper, the lineup looks a bit of a mess. You got Stiko as a stand-in, Golden. There's rumors he's not a stand-in. He's going to be contracted long-term to the project. Yikes! Fucking Skadoodle. Up and down, as is his way. People...
Firepower on this team's fucking garbage, let's be real.
Yeah.
The names look all right, but that's because you're still in your brain going, maybe Skadoodle can do it. It's like, I gave up on that a long time ago, mate.
Yeah, and listen, basically it just felt like a team that was just running around, individuals trying to make plays, round after round after round.
And yet they claimed, remember, they had a boot camp or something.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say.
A few weeks or something.
I mean, this was the risk for Golden when he stepped into this team. He got a lot of credit for what he did with Fnatic, and if you look at Fnatic now, who we're going to get on to next, they look terrible by comparison to the Golden era. But if you've had a boot camp with MIBR, right, and this team looked awful. It looked like it hadn't had a boot camp at all. Their fucking executes were unbelievably telegraphed on T side. I mean, on the Inferno, it was literally, hey, everyone, let's just fucking group up, hug the fucking right side of Banana, and hope we can dodge some mollies and nades. It was unbelievably bad. And then, like I say, when Stiko's the one who's balling out of control in fucking later rounds, it does raise some questions about what exactly the structure or the plan was for this team. And yeah, for me, absolutely awful. Keep saying it as well. When is Skadoodle either going to decide to stream or decide to go and play at a lower level and try and have fun? This can't be fun for him. It's not fun for Cloud9 fans.
I can't handle that he gets a choice in this. I understand it if you here's the funny thing, okay? I can understand them giving Snacks all kinds of rope in Virtus Pro, giving him as long as possible, because he was carrying you at once upon a time. He was the main star. He's in many ways responsible for a lot of the legendary trophies VP won.
Yep.
Skadoodle's been fucking on borrowed time for so long. It's like this is one of the very weird things I've noticed about Jack as an owner, is that when he's just doing business, like he's signing a new player or he's letting a player go and he's getting the best value for them, he's a fucking killer. He's amazing at doing those deals. Yeah. But whenever he has an emotional attachment to a player, I feel like it always costs him. He did it in same in League of Legends. He keeps players around for too long. He lets them try to swap role. Basically, the problem is he becomes friends with the person. And so because he's not dealing with an employee, his friend goes, give me another chance, mate. I'm good for it. And then they just gives him the extra chances. And usually it's the player itself eventually who does the classic move of actually, I'm just going to go off now. That sort of thing. Sound, you could have done that a year earlier, mate.
Yeah, and look, there's something to be said for manager loyalty to players that are loyal to the organization, right? But there has to be a ruthlessness that kicks in at some point. And what I'm tired of is we have those 19 games in a row where Skadoodle is terrible. And then we have this one unbelievable game, and Reddit fucking is awash. Skadoodle's back. He's back. Look at this.
You idiot. You said he was bad.
Yeah, and it's like the lows far fucking outweigh the highs. You know, it is unbelievable. And listen, it's the rot at the core of the team. It's the rot at the core of the team. Nobody wants to say it because he's a nice fucking guy. But unfortunately, he's a nice guy who is basically posing as a star player by being an AWPer. You're basically
Dude, you know, that's the part that tilts me as well, though. I've known a lot of players, the aforementioned Sticko, nice guy, really good attitude, not that great in the game at the moment, bad stats, but you hope he's doing all these things both in the game that aren't kills and outside of the game in terms of personality. Like, sometimes just not having an ego can be a good thing. The thing that tilts me about the Skadoodle one is, this guy didn't even com very much. Like, I'm not going with the old meme of he never comms. That's many years ago. But he is a guy, you saw it in that fucking documentary from the major. Stewie 2K in the finals triggered because the guy isn't comming a key round. This is someone who doesn't, it's not like he adds that much to the team. I never understood that part. He's not the glue guy or the fucking hyper guy. You know, he's none of that.
We were talking actually about it where Mo came on the show, and obviously you know what Mo's like. He talks to all the pros still, you know, been around the block, and obviously knows Stewie. And basically what Mo was saying was what happened was there was an ultimatum delivered, like, because Stewie was so pissed off at having play with somebody who didn't talk in game. You know, think of that clip from the Boston Major documentary where he says, you know, like, listen, he never fucking calls. I got to go 1v3. I don't know when I can peak. I don't know what's going on. And he said there was like an ultimatum issued where Stewie said, listen, it's him or me. Like, enough's enough. And that was when Skadoodle moved to bench, if you remember, famously, after the major, saying, I'm going to move to the bench. And then, so obviously the organization had made the choice to go with Stewie. And then Stewie basically decided, fuck it anyway, because now we're going to have to rebuild. Got the MIBR, offered the chance to play with Fall, and said, actually, fuck it, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. Won the major, you know, I want to do something else. So then the org had to turn around and go, Skadoodle, we chose you all along. Come back and help us out. And he did, and he found his way back into the team. Originally, the plan was obviously Stewie and Automatic to go out. Timmy's obviously a fucking loyal guy. Yeah, respect. He decided to stick around.
Because I actually asked him on that one, you know. Fails. Because since I heard, like, a bunch of times, like, I think even around the Tarek time, he Automatic got another offer. So I actually asked him privately. I said, okay, give me the timeline, though. Like, since he's already said in the last few months that, you know, he'd lost his motivation, he doesn't play as much now. I said, was part of it that you just lost your motivation? That's why you didn't go to MIBR, because he thought, you know, why go there if I'm not motivated? And he said, no, that came later. So this guy actually did, as a legit fucking gangster, turn down the first offer from that team because he really did think, no, let's keep the team together. And then when Stewie was like, I want to go, he's like, oh, well, have a good time. So, yeah, I'll try and stay here. What a fucking legend. Yeah. Of course, not the player showered with love in the team. Instead, everyone's still enamored with Skadoodle because they're all like, oh, Skadoodle's like that guy, mate, who's like the fucking, he's out on the farm lifting up all the fucking hair, and the idiot woman who's going to marry him is just like, I just wonder what's going on in that head of yours. And he's just going like fucking, just like a little fucking cow skipping rope or some shit. And then she's just thinking he's like deep and oh, the depths, the unplumbed depths. And he's like, I put up on you, you die. Or at least you used to around here. Some shit like that. Anyway, I don't know where he's from. I was all over the place on that one.
Yeah, not your best work.
I think I seen him in Deadwood season 2.
Meanwhile, exactly. Yeah. Meanwhile, Automatic's that guy in the background who you never notice him. He's got all his fucking books. He's got the 4.0 GPA. He's the guy you should be with.
Yeah,
Vincels rise up.
Yeah, Vincels, right? Vincels. Yeah. No, but listen, I mean, you know what? I agree. I think like he's had so much of his own way in the team. Players are a little bit to blame.
Sure.
Because they've contributed to this mythology.
They've enabled
the ultimate team player, right?
And by the way, you gave the example here. Put all the facts together that we've heard over the last year of this show. Yeah. So in the past, Rich, it was them telling you directly, oh, we're giving him the support role. The same players who privately wanted him kicked.
Yeah.
That's how bad it's gotten with PR now. That like players won't even be honest like with their own opinion. It's like they have to mind fuck themselves into believing what they're saying. Like I actually respect it when a player's like, listen, I'm not a big fan of his, but the others don't want to kick him, so I'm doing what I can. Like that's fair play, that's business, it is a sport. But like these guys had their chances before, but they didn't realize they were enabling it. Like if they thought it was the Cloud9 org who wanted him, but they gave you a chance to get rid of the guy.
And I hopefully, I think the penny's starting to drop a little bit with even Cloud9 fans, that it's an untenable situation. It's an untenable situation. As I said, it's not an issue if Skadoodle is like, you know what, I'll take the bitch role. I don't mind, as it's affectionately known. Sure. I'll be very much the enabler for everyone else on the team. And this idea of support op is fucking hilarious to me. I can't even begin to imagine how people
it's like
can
I
think
say,
that's
it's not
the
a
thing.
coincidence there's no top team doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And but he's posing as a star player. He occupies the space a star player would slot into. He's there in the doorway saying y'all can't come in. It's ridiculous. So he's got to go. Whether Cloud9 will make that choice. I mean, I did see Cloud9 were linked to a fucking Scream, and it's like, listen, if you go down this road of just bringing in fan favorites, like you may as well just be like that fucking old boys club or whatever the fuck it's called with Fifth Lauren, Lurpis, Sean Gares,
Club,
sorry, old guys club, my bad. Just fucking it becomes a waste of time. I mean, I saw that interview that Nell did where Scream goes, if Cloud9 offered me, I'd be open to it. Of course you are, you fucking unemployed. You'd be what is that? That's like me going, if I could be president of America, I'd probably give it a go,
That interview summarized everything that is one of the reasons why, if people have ever heard, I'm also pretty out on Scream. Because again, first of all, he's another player who has his own motivation issues that come only from him. They don't come from other, teammates telling you you're not good enough, you can't do that. No, you can give him every role he wants. You can say, look, I'll make you the star player. And he goes, I'm not feeling like being star player now. So, fuck this. Maybe I be support player. So, you can't do that, can you? Use your fucking head. Look, here's some quick maths. What's 10 times 3 times fucking 7 minus 40? You don't know it, do you? Shut the fuck up. Like, go and shoot some people in the head, you daft cunt. You can't do any of this stuff. Your decision making is garbage.
Why have you got to be a calculator to throw flashbangs?
It was a metaphor. It was just a metaphor, Sam. It wasn't meant to be interpreted. But anyway, that interview was exactly why you can't have any faith in him, sadly, because he also just basically had a nice big whinge about everyone who's ever helped him in his career. And Existence has done him wrong. Shocks has done him wrong. Like, these guys gave you your fucking career, mate. You did part of it. You did the killing people. You did that part wicked. But they gave you as much chance as you could get. And then for good reason, not just them, the entire French scene said, I'm sick of playing with this guy. So what? Are you like that fucking ridiculous meme of Skinner, is it me? Who's wrong? No, it's all the French scene in Belgium.
Yeah, the French scene are wrong. No, I mean, look, I agree with you to a certain degree, but
I can't handle people with that mentality.
There's a little bit of jealousy, I think, at play because he has this huge following, huge Instagram following. He gets to go and design his own mouse. Not Shocks, not MBK. Not anyone. It's him who gets the fucking Scream final mouse.
So you think some of the jealousy comes from them as well?
Yes, for sure. In my opinion,
they present it a little bit,
Yeah, because imagine playing with him and knowing how fucking one-dimensional he is. As a teammate, that it is literally every game.
Is that out of all the other people, and everyone NBK doesn't like, he has a personal reason not to like them. Existence, Shocks, Happy. He doesn't want to ever play with Scream again. And he has no personal reason for that.
No, he likes the guy. But
for me, MBK's the barometer on that one. If he really thought you could win play with the guy, he'd be the one pushing for it.
I mean, look, it just boils down to this. Like, basically, when you're on a team with Scream, I mean, you think back to that G2 with Scream and Shocks, which was dysfunctional for other reasons. But when those two guys would go off, yeah, amazing, right? Brilliant. It just all the heads are popped. There is fucking it doesn't matter about your tactical setup or anything like that. Nothing breaks down tactics than unbelievable aim, right? Because you have to keep that motherfucker permanently blind. And even then, because just of his crosshair placement.
Well, we know Smiths was actually the kryptonite to Scream. He was on his team at the time, so.
But but you know, like, but I think there's more to it than meets the eye, because he has this huge fucking following. He has, you know, huge Instagram following, getting the mouse endorsements, is considered by the community to be this like fantastic fucking amazing player. But the reality is he is good at one thing.
You know, where they still do that. They still do that thing where when he's in like a team that's not that good, they're not interested in watching bad teams, so they don't watch him play. But in their mind, he is still the exact same player from 2016 who was getting all those headshots. And like, you know, if he isn't, then it's someone else's fault. Whereas like, he's definitely got to take some of the blame for this.
Oh, absolutely. And I've said this. There was a period of time where he could have corrected the course he was locked into. And it was stubbornness on his part. You know, people want you to at least be able to just do a bit more, you know, like when you're an in-game leader and you're watching Scream on the CT side hold a bomb site, and he is, instead of just spraying down a very clear choke point, let's say it's, you know, for example, Dust 2, B tunnels, and instead of spraying into it, he's trying to tap on every individual fucking head, and he gets 1 kill with a 6 shot, but he doesn't get 3 kills when he could have, right? It's incredibly frustrating. And many people have said that it's his inability to adapt. Now, recently, if you look at him play, he is trying to move away. He is trying to be more versatile. But unfortunately, I mean, I remember him talking back in the very early days of CSGO, and he talked about how he trained himself to never hold down mouse 1. That he wouldn't, you know, he would just go out, and it was literally...
Sure. Yeah.
You know, he trained... So how do you unfucking train your fundamental philosophy and approach to the game? I don't think you do.
It's fucking hard, by the way, because I know that's what caught a lot of the 1.6 players in trouble when they came to CSGO. They were just trying to spray, because obviously in 1.6 the spray is fucking wicked. So, like, I mean, I think it was I even remember when Forrest watched back an old movie of his, and he even said, fuck, there's a lot of mouse 1 holding down in this, because, like, obviously you don't do that in CSGO, but Scream went too far the other way.
Yeah, no, for sure. And look, I remember lots of 1.6s saying that they, you know, that they'd heard that Source was even easier than 1.6, and you could just wazzer around spraying and get kills. I remember Zet getting caught out with that in fucking CGS. You know, he thought he would just be able to fucking do that, and no, it doesn't work like that. Now, like I say, I think Scream definitely should have a team. I think it's a travesty he's not on a team, but a top tier team, not for me. Not a top 10 team, top 15 team. And if Cloud9 do pick him up, then you are basically saying, we want to sell stickers, we want to sell merch, we want to have all the fans on Reddit, but we are not interested in winning.
The sort of team I think should get Scream, because this is a team that already is in a position where they have to accept people who are somewhat damaged goods, either by circumstance or playing style, is a team like Hellraisers. That's the sort of team you could do something with Scream with. Play a bit loose. You've got all these star players. You've only got them because they themselves are a bad scenario. Some of them can't get visas, or from countries that don't traditionally, like, aren't going to get called up to fucking play North or something, you know. So that's the sort of team that's about his level, where you could probably do something and you might be able to get some. But yeah, absolutely. Like, put it this way, I'm not throwing him in the mix with that fucking mouse sports move earlier on. That's
oh God.
That's in no way going to help the scenario.
No, definitely not. So we'll move on to Fnatic, as I said we would. Also, we're really disappointing here. I mean, they were disappointing at DreamHack Stockholm before it, so maybe your expectations were tempered as a result of that. But, you know, people who caught the broadcast when we were streaming the games, they saw pretty much what I saw, that I was able to call, you know, exactly where the vetoes were going to go, because Exist is in the team again.
By the way, can we just address that for a second? So ever since the last, I'd say, 2 years of NIP, Exist and other players, because to be fair, he doesn't himself call you out usually. He doesn't even, like, I'll give him credit. The whole reason the Exist veto exists in the first place is he actually is like that. He doesn't give a fuck. He has his way of thinking. It's right. He has the championships. Look at them there. Therefore, he's right. And you don't have them. You're not a pro player. Therefore, you're wrong. Now, that's fine as long as you win. I'll accept that kind of arrogance. But over the last few years, you still see fucking, like, by the way, he says that the coach did it for the last few years. Well, funnily enough, I haven't really complained about many Exist vetoes the last couple of years. I thought Fnatic was probably doing a fucking bang-up job. But in Fnatic, okay, here's the premise. So they didn't say he doesn't do any of the vetoes. They never said that. They just said that he isn't the only one who decides the veto. They intimated perhaps the coach has a say as well. And yet, bizarrely, they still end up with what we would term exist vetoes. Now, at this point in time, I can invoke one of my classic lines. It doesn't matter if I know why you're doing something. It just matters that you are doing it. So if they put it this way, if exist isn't the one determining these exist vetoes, why are the rest of y'all fucking up the vetoes? Pretty good follow-up question.
Well, I mean,
and ultimately, it doesn't matter.
it started with the complexity defeat. Complexity, we're given a huge gift there. Listen, super happy about complexity. If we've got time, we'll definitely, wax lyrical about them. I think they've been a revelation. It's great for Stan. But Fnatic basically vetoed into their best map right at the start. I said, you don't want to play complexity on Inferno. We're going to see Inferno. No doubt about it. Exist will conspire to put that map out there. And complexity spanked Fnatic 16-4 on it. And then from there, Fnatic would.
By the way, that's one of Fnatic's better maps. So that alone set you on this track of this is how it's going to be, boys.
Yeah, and they had a close first half against Windstrike where they were looking terrible. Then they pulled away with it and won 16-7. Then it was Inferno again against Vegas Squadron. That game was a coin flip, 16-14 to Fnatic. Vegas Squadron could feel a little bit aggrieved, I think. It was one of the best of ones on Inferno that we saw. Then you go into Na'Vi on Mirage. Not too sure about that, by the way. You get fucking absolutely wrecked. And then, of course, you're in the best of three with Hellraisers. And, probably is one of the better best of three series that day. But let's talk about how it ended. A 16-2 on Cash. Exist, famously the player, don't play me on Cash, motherfucker. Well, yes. Yeah. Might want to try and expunge that fucking quotation from the history books, given that now it just makes you look a right cunt every time you get fucking spanked on Cash. So I'm going to say I think they have the same fucking problems that the NIP team had. And it's no coincidence that Exist is off the NIP team, and NIP have looked more cohesive, more clever in their vetoes, performing better on a tactical level. Fnatic look adrift, no ideas, no tactics. They've been able to get wins against weaker opponents and not even consistently and close wins. And they've been smashed by teams with no international pedigree compared to them. That is an Exist team in a nutshell for me. Now, again, I like the guy, but I don't give a fuck. I'll call it as it is. Now, on top of this, you had this weird fucking narrative where Draken decided, of all the times, now is where I do the heel turn and reveal that do you know what I mean? Like, listen, go and watch your fucking wrestling. These things have to be timed to drive a storyline. They must be timed so people get on board with it, If you want to be the player people love to fucking hate, there's a place and a time and a way within which you do it. What Draken decided to do, while Fnatic were at their lowest ebb, right, just having been absolutely wrecked by complexity on a map they vetoed into, right, he then decides, time to wreck Windstrike if we lose to them, as if it was completely beyond the realms of possibility. Now, here's the thing as well. I'll say if Crims had said it, I think no one gives a fuck. No one bats an eyelid. All right? Crims is feeling it. Crims is the best player on that fucking team by a country mile. Crims is in good form. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Makes sense. You're Draken. I don't know if you've watched a video of yourself play lately, mate. And I know you watch this show, so I hope you're going to listen to what I say. You see how Smoothie is doing all the shit talk, and it's annoying. But he's absolutely bodying everyone, and Big are in the major still.
But that only delays that fucking check from cashing for a little while.
Oh,
still
sure.
cashes one day eventually. Eventually, you have you down to, or you're just the best player ever. You can do it that way. But if you eventually one day you hit that rough spot, it'll catch up to Smoothie as well. I agree with you. Right now, he's winning, so he gets away with it.
And listen, I love trash talk, and people shouldn't be fucking banging on him for saying what he said about the CIS region, which again, people didn't even.
They did the same thing to me. You know exactly what I told you they did to me. They did exactly that to him because what's mad is, dude, they were even memeing like, haha, you said CIS is shit and Na'Vi just beat you, number 2 ranked team in the world.
Yeah, didn't say that. He said he would come through the CIS qualifier every time. That's what he said, and he's right.
Mad,
But equally, here's what you have to do if you're going to say that. You have to be the guy that goes out and takes the game by the scruff of the neck. And I don't know if you've seen lately, Draken, but you cannot hit fucking consistent levels of shots. This is the same problem you had in NIP. And I don't know how you fix this, my friend, because some people have it and some people don't. And right now, all the indicators are that you don't. All the deathmatch in the world isn't going to help you if it comes to a game situation and you are missing easy shots. And even if even if statistically you're doing well, the eye test is there for everyone to see that you don't get the kills you should. Your statistics might be good, but if you should have had an additional 10 kills and you all missed easy shots and it cost you rounds, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Unfortunately, the insanity, being an AWPer is a lot like being a goalkeeper, right? When you make mistakes, everybody sees it because it costs you rounds. It costs you matches. Nobody talks about all the clean sheets you kept, all the great saves you made. If you then go out next week and you do what's his fucking name at Liverpool fucking does, and in the biggest game of their season, have an absolute fucking meltdown and let in a load of easy goals. Karius or whatever his fucking name is. Yeah. He's now been farmed out to a shit team. That's it. That's career over. People will remember
fair, that happened to Drake, and he got farmed out from Nips in his shit team off an act. So
yeah. Well, so he's got to understand that drawing attention to yourself while you're in fucking bad form is not what you want to be doing. It creates another pressure in your head, and I don't think you're consistent enough in delivery and production to be the kind of guy that can cope with that level of attention, right? Now, I'll also add to this. There was this weird thing that happened on the fucking subreddit where, by the way, I don't know how this thread was allowed to stay up, but of course, moderation is a law into itself. Somebody made a thread saying Fnatic leaks on hot girl streamers Twitch or something, and it was like some guy going, I was looking for some FAP material and I saw a girl.
Should be deleted immediately. As soon as it starts, that's deletion.
Yeah, like why am I reading a thread about some guy? I was gonna have a wank and I stumbled across this girl's Twitch stream. It's like,
do you know who it is, by the way?
Delete that. Well, somebody said it was Tarek's girlfriend. Is that right?
I don't know if she's still his girlfriend, but she was at one point in time, definitely. Like I remember seeing them at like an ESL New York or something. So,
right.
Another player just talking out at school about other people.
Yeah. So the mods just let that thread stay up, and in the thread, apparently some source from within Fnatic called Jimmy, right? Jimmy. He fucking said, oh, yeah, the team's in a fucking shambles right now. Draken's a terrible teammate. He's just there even between rounds on his phone. Like, which doesn't make sense because you can't have your phone. But that's what he said. I don't know.
Yeah, but sources close to him and his phone said, yeah.
Yeah,
so
true.
You're wrong on that, Rich.
But so that's what it said. That's what the clip said. And then the clips got cut, And this is, by the way, while they're still in the tournament, this is the night before like vitally important games.
Oh, the witch hunt for this was fucking ridiculous.
No, but I mean, so just explain this to me, right? I got told that Jimmy isn't Jumpy, right?
Yeah.
It's not, right? Jimmy is apparently a general manager of Fnatic.
Wait a minute, it really is someone in Fnatic?
Apparently,
What the fuck?
When I was doing the stream, and I haven't had time to look into this, apparently somebody said, like, actually, yeah, this James was an employee at Fnatic.
I think he doesn't work there anymore and he's like bitter or something.
Well, I don't know.
If he works there right now, I'm telling you, I'll be on the fucking blower after this to Khan. Get your fucking arse in gear, what you doing?
But obviously I can't go back because nobody downloaded the Twitch VODs, so I can't ascertain who it might have been. But a few people came onto the stream saying, no, he's like a general manager over at Fnatic or something, some employee. So just imagine that. I mean, how your organization's running, where literally before these must-win games, somebody's talking out of fucking school. But also, I'll say, obviously there's problems there. This is the same problem Draken had in NIP. I don't think Draken can play in Sweden. I don't. I think there's too many fucking Swedes who, I think he's the next Makalele.
Yes. He is the next in the lineage of Modi, Makalele, and now it's him. And what do you know, Richard? Yeah. The connecting theme for those two players was don't play in Swedish teams.
Yeah.
That's really what the solution was for their careers.
I mean, you see a lot of parallels, right? I mean, Makalele and Orpa, who is very inconsistent but has talent, but likes to. So there you go. Jimmy is a coach of the CS:GO team, is what people are spamming in the chat. So
they mean fucking jumpy with that because his name is Jimmy, like the first name.
Maybe it was him then.
If that's so, that's wild. Not least because, by the way, I think he's the guy. I think I talked to him ESL Cologne because he used to be actually, funnily enough, a teammate of Moddy's back in 1.6.
I was going to say, I remember Jumpy from 1.6.
And I believe he actually even told me directly that he likes Draken, like he's going to fit in the system really well, like him and Exist are going to be so good. That's one of the maddest things about this story, Richard, is like everyone behind the scenes I've talked to, bigging up Fnatic, saying they're going to be really good. All the Swedish players saying like, no, you've misread Exist and Draken, like you don't know the value they bring. All the Fnatic players, JW, etc., loving having Exist there. Like I don't get it myself. And so as a result, I'm not the guy who goes, how did it not work? I never saw how it was going to. I don't know what you guys were seeing. So I mean, you're welcome to keep being delusional if you want, but for me, this is like an abortive fucking lineup that didn't work. You've had enough events now. You've done enough. Like you've had some wins. Like I remember they beat fucking FaZe Clan. That's pretty legit. But they didn't get a top 4 at any of these events. So it's like it never actually like flourished into anything. And here's the thing. If you've got Draken as your like troubled star, Flusher going absolutely down the fucking pan. Crims is really good, but he's just on his own. And then Exist as your in-game leader. Where's the ceiling? Where's the growth? Who's going to get better? How's this going to get better? It probably isn't, right?
Flusher looked like he couldn't be asked. Saw JW immediately afterward, just tweeted, the end. You know, like
you always love to see that.
Yeah, listen. He even went back because JW made a joke when NIP got better after they picked up Exist. He made a joke saying, "Oh, we picked up the problem." Someone told me he went back and deleted that tweet.
Oh, come on, JW, you're better than that, man.
Don't know if that's true, but apparently the tweet might have gone.
Like, I know every now and then, like, I'm sure idiots will probably retweeting it or responding to it.
Yeah,
like, oh, this
that's what I think happened.
You know, just leave it up, mate. Come on, listen, you can handle some banter.
So I mean, look, the team's all over the place. It's got all sorts of problems.
And as you saw, Crims is not happy with the situation. Why would he be?
Fuck no. I mean, imagine being the best player among that shower of shit. And, you know, you were on an upward trajectory. It was fine. Like you were winning trophies when you had Golden. There was, I will never understand what, like seriously, Golden must have done something unspeakable, because I've never seen an in-game leader fucked like that. By the way, to go from a position of, hey, he's coming through our academy, but we all respect him. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have the experience. We will listen to what he says, which is what they said going into E-League when, if you remember, Golden, with the heroic play after there were snowstorms in fucking Sweden, literally flew out delayed, drove through Atlanta traffic and went straight onto the server, jet-lagged, eyes like piss holes in the snow, more so than usual, and fucking played for them and they won their first game. That's the kind of effort you put in for this team. Then they were winning tournaments. Then you had that one down in China where it was like, he's actually out the team. And then it's like,
we just won all the money in the world. Sam.
Yeah.
More money than we made for all those majors with Olofmeister. Yeah. Anyway, fuck off, mate.
Yeah, fucking hell, we won. And then it was like, I stay. Brilliant, right? He's not out.
Yeah, it was a great storyline.
Yeah, then at that point, right, you think, you know what? Put the differences aside. Let's make it fucking work. Bam. No, they're not going to do that. And then they don't even just have the decency to kick him straight up.
It's brilliant the way they kicked him, wasn't it?
We're just going to put you into this role. It's called entry fragger. But what? But
I'm not good at fragging, though. Yeah, that's going to be a real problem for you.
Yeah.
So how evil are these guys?
No pressure. But basically what the role involves is you have to run out first. We'll flash for you. We're totally in control of your fate, by the way. But you must run out first and basically bang two people's fucking lips off so we can get onto the fucking website.
Spice.
Yeah. You know, what's that? You've never been a great aimer in the game. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's not like we're going to kick you immediately when you shit. And Flush is just there with his mad fucking Bayou hillbilly grin. Like, fuck this. I've never seen that. Golden got absolutely fucking
remember what happened last week where JW, after Golden was kicked on stream, was asked about Golden, and he goes, He goes, he's a really nice guy.
We're all still mates.
Maybe the nicest guy I've ever played with.
I know, what's that mean?
Sort of mad, like fucking Shanghai'd up the river scenario. If you put that guy through, if he's the nicest guy ever, you're like, listen, it's JW walking in like that fucking boss out of Office Space. Like, yeah, I'm going to need you to be the entry fragger in this team. It's like, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, but I'm going to need you to just go ahead and do that right now. And then he's just running in, getting banged. And then they're like, right, what we're going to do is going to draw lots for who stays in the team. Because remember, they recruited Exist first and put him as the in-game player. They're going to go, right, everyone who's won a major, pull up your major trophies now. And whoever hasn't got a major, he goes, I haven't. Oh, and then Flusher goes, bye. And then he's out the team. And he goes, you go. High five, CW, and then just goes back to being shit.
I mean, listen, I feel sorry for Golden because he obviously had to go to Cloud9. I still think his stock is relatively high. I think if he's kept on for the Cloud9 project,
I'm sure that's as well.
That's a mistake.
Here's the other thing. Yeah. To be fair, like the team now is shit in Cloud9, but if they give him anything to work with, like I'll give you an example. We've already talked about if he does get Scream and he turns it around and Scream's fucking performing and he's getting some decent results.
Oh, he looks like a genius.
Going way up. Yeah, he's got a good chance there to do something.
I don't think he's going to get the tools over at Cloud9, and he needs to think about that very, very carefully if he's going to stay on, because people have short memories in this fucking business. They won't remember WESG or whatever the fuck it was that you won with Fnatic when you were winning tournaments with them. People won't remember that. They'll just be like, "Ha, you're the shit in-game leader of a shit Cloud9." But anyway, so listen, this Fnatic team are fucking done. They are fucking toast. They are like. Look, I personally think if you're putting all your fucking eggs, the unlimited eggs that you've got from this major, in a basket labeled Exist, the basket has no hole. Sorry, it's a hole. It's got no floor. The egg's gonna fall out. It's a fucking nightmare. Like, I wish they would just revert and go. There must be another in-game leader. There has to be.
If we're being reasonable,
there has to be.
Exist should be on Red Reserve, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
That's the team for him. He can bring up the young guys, help him work, probably have a half decent game himself at a lower level. Come on, man. We've been through this experiment. When Nip fucking rejects you, why are you going outside? That's like going outside in the charity shop bins. It's a charity shop.
Why not do this, right? Why not get nuts, okay? Flusher is the old wily veteran who's, up, his form's up and down. JW is also an inconsistent player, but that can get back to form, has his moments, has his games. Crims right now has got back to some vestige of his old self. Why not actually roll the fucking dice? Why not have a gamble instead of recycling, the classic Swedish problem of recycling shit? No, but what I was going to say was go to Red Reserve, right? Now, listen, I've joked about it before that I don't think Hampus is a great in-game leader, and I certainly don't rate Red Reserve or anything they've done. But Hampus is a 19-year-old specialist in-game leader, right? You did it once for Golden, you did it once for Golden, where this was an in-game leader with no pedigree who came through your academy side, and you get Brolin as well, right? So you have the supposed young upcoming Swedish star on the roster with this young supposed upcoming. You just go out and spend some fucking money instead of doing this thing that the Swedes have done for years. Let's just keep recycling the same old names and hope it works out. I mean, it's either that or maybe the return of the king. Maybe Olaf Meister comes back. Fuck him. Maybe get the whole band back
that's
together.
That's a possibility. If he decides to leave FaZe, it's a clever way to go out. Have one last run.
Well, you make a fortune in marketing off that. Everyone wins, right? But I think if you're going to do that and have Exist as an in-game leader, you're still going to have a bad time. I mean, fuck it, Pronax is fucking terrible at the game, but just I almost want to say, like, at least Vito's would be normal.
That's a choice between the gun and the fucking noose. That
Pronax of course it is. Of course it is. Do you want the poison? Or do you want the lethal injection or the electric chair? I'd rather have neither, obviously. But like, I know provably one is bad. We've got such a massive sample size now. It's ridiculous. But like, there's ways to fix Fnatic. This wasn't it. So if Fnatic is serious about, keeping that core three that have been together, they're your options. Right? Anyway, and I've saved the best of the worst to last. But going to enjoy this one. G2. I know a guy, Duncan.
All you need to know is this, Richard. G2, it was better than Mouse Sports and Fnatic.
Sure. Now,
got to take my wins back and get them. That ends the good parts of the tournament and shocks. Now begins the destruction of G2. Yeah.
Back to my story. I know a guy. Tweets a lot. He does. Very into Counter-Strike. Made a tweet with something along the lines of "Motherfuckers be sleeping on G2" or something along those lines. Can't remember who it was, but turns out that G2 are fucking absolute trash. Served up some of the worst games, undoubtedly, at the major in terms of just spectacle to watch. And this is an issue because keep in mind, sure, they eked out that overtime win over Hellraisers. Excellent. That's a decent start. They looked terrible. Hellraisers kind of choked a little bit. They were ahead quite significantly. Then if you look, they lost to Complexity. They got battered by MIBR. They had an overtime win over Cloud9. Embarrassing. One of the worst games of the tournament. And then got absolutely wrecked by FaZe after taking like a quadruple overtime or whatever the fuck it was on Dust 2, the map that they're supposedly the best on. Let's talk about the good, I suppose, in G2. Shocks. Now let's talk about the bad. Everything else. This
KNS was all right. He was okay.
Mate, he
for his standards, I expect a little bit more.
I like Kenny. Didn't take over a single fucking game.
Well, that ties into, actually, I think, part of their problem. Like, right. I have to say, that's one of the areas I'm judging existence on in this team. Two things. One, where was the T-sides? The T-sides were non-existent in this tournament. At least in the other one, when you did that ESL Cologne run, I could look at that and be proud to be like, look, on the Inferno, they were grinding them out, they knew what they were doing, they prepared. T-sides were non-existent in this fucking tournament, hence why they couldn't beat FaZe with like 10 match points on T-sided Dust 2. Then you add in, one of the whole points of bringing Existence back also was this is going to revitalize Kenny S because he's going to be in a system, but he's going to have his room and all that. Kenny S I've never seen him play this scared. Like even in the last G2 where they played free-for-all, he'd run out and he'd try and get kills or whatever. In this team, he doesn't even go first. He comes in like third on some of the T-side strats. Fucking Shocks us to entry and clutch all around. It's not a good setup at the moment, put it that way, and they seriously lack firepower.
Well, I mean, first of all, Kenny starts playing scared when he's got no confidence in his teammates. Second of all, sometimes that doesn't really matter too much if he's in godlike form. He isn't. He's very far from that. I would say the Kenny that we saw at this major is about 65% Kenny. It was very, very poor, below his standard. He whiffed a lot. And I know he's not happy. I'll tell you now, I know he's not happy playing with the teammates that he's playing with right now. Why the fuck would you be? I'm sure him and Shocks are looking at each other thinking, why is it that we finally got to play with each other, and why is it that we've done it on two shit lineups now? Because they should be a pairing akin to an Electronic and Simple, They should be a pairing that basically power you to titles, even with the garbage that you've got. Now, I'll say this. G2, unfortunately, the drag factor is too big. That Shocks was literally fragging out of control. Vaxuck's having a field day, saying he's cheating. Look at him, he's cheating. Look at the circular movement. He's cheating. Right? But you cannot fucking drag Smiths and Existence along for the fucking ride. And listen, Body is such a fucking generic player. Is so fucking anonymous. Like, his own parents would fucking walk past him and, oh, wait, fuck, yeah, you're our son, miss you.
Can you get me Kenny S.'s signature?
Yeah, exactly. He's fucking, I Shocks what he's doing later. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And like I say, for all of the clout that supposedly Existence is a fucking great in-game leader, let's be fucking real. Their CT sides looked very good. Well, not even very good, actually. I'm overselling it. They looked good. They looked very solid. They had good use of utility, good cross. I mean, the basics, right? The T-sides were shit. I mean, shit. And if you're a legendary in-game leader with, big brain meme.jpg going on, I expect better. And I didn't get that here. Most of their tactics seem to revolve around Shocks, go somewhere and kill somebody, please, and then he would. And then Smith would be like, my brother, I come and help you. And fucking then he would just die immediately. just spraying. You know, this is an absurdly bad team, absurdly bad. I saw a tweet out saying he's disappointed they went out. Obviously, you know, listen, I sympathize with Carlos. He was in a position where it was a coin toss. He had one way to go. He can go down the MBK Apex vision, or he can go the Shocks and Smiths way. And he went Shocks and Smiths, and this gamble didn't pay off. You have lost. You lost all your chips because this team is bad. It's really, really bad. I'm amazed they got 2 wins, frankly. Looking back, I think you got to say MBK and Apex was definitely the option. You lose Shocks, but I think overall you don't have. Well, first of all, you don't have Smiths, so immediately the outlook's a lot sunnier. I know Reddit are going to be like when eventually this VOD gets out there, they're going to be like, "Oh, you went too hard on Smiths." Go watch some of his games, please. Let's stop this myth right now. That first of all, lie number 1. People were too harsh on Smith towards the end of his career. If anything, we were too gentle because he was garbage. Second of all, let's stop this myth that he was a non-primary AWPer forced to AWP and is much better with the rifle because he is garbage
He's
with
still
the
AWPs
rifle.
now.
Yeah, and still AWPs. So with Kenny Est in the team. So let's just stop the lies. Let's look at the facts, look at the evidence, and let's also just accept that, listen, nice guys, glittering careers, have made a contribution to CS that very few will. This G2 is not fit to wear the shirt. The end. And, you know, if you want to go and have a fucking treehouse and be friends, that's fine. Most team owners that invest a lot of money into teams want to actually win things and at least see some semblance of improvement. You didn't even improve over the course of this tournament. Remember how Existence is this legendary in-game leader who fucking sits down and anti-strats teams? Where was any of that?
Well, that's probably the most disappointing part of the tournament. Like, I understood they could have firepower issues. That's been what's plagued them the whole time they've had this lineup. But the most disappointing part was they had a real boot camp for this tournament. Yeah. They, in theory, had all the time. So when they said at ECS, it's just a standard for that tournament. Then for ESL Cologne, well, only a week's practice or whatever, you know. Even in the interviews coming into this major, they were saying stupid shit like, we're only at 60%. You know, we've got like some maps, like 3 or 4. It's like, that is, first of all, one of the reasons Smiths himself told me Existence was kicked from G2 in the past was that he tunnel visioned on a few maps and tried to figure out every flowchart of what you could do. And as a result, you never had the full 5, 6 maps that you want if you were going to be an elite level team. So you've done that again. And then secondly, what was all the practice leading up to? Well, what was it all for? So, I like I said before, I still think this is a team where you could redeem it if you make a roster move. But first of all, obviously, we know Smiths isn't on the table because of whatever bizarre scenario Shocks has going on. So and also the other thing that's actually now is fucked up is that now people understand behind the scenes there is going to be a second team with all the people you would want in this team signed to contracts, probably to a massive org with enormous buyouts. So the dream of like, we'll dick around and if it doesn't work, we'll get whoever we want, RPK, MBK, that option is going to, if it hasn't already gone, it's gone tomorrow. So unless you're someone like Shocks, it ain't going to happen for you, mate, because if you notice the way they're all talking, none of them are like, we failed. They're all like, still a work in progress, like, give us time, 60%. Like, this is your third LAN. Let me think. Is it fourth? Because I guess the first was the standard, but yes, it's your fourth LAN. Like the cycle up time isn't that long.
Well, look, like you say, where do you even go in terms of change? You got to keep Kenny. You got to keep Shocks. Existence is the IGL. Smiths and Shocks are joined at the hip. So you cut Body, generic human being. Who the fuck are you going to bring in to replace him? And like you say, you would need a spectacular star player. Some firepower, somebody capable of a spark, making a big play when nothing else is working. And it can't be Apex. It can't be MBK. It can't be Scream. I'm not even saying any of these people would even fix that issue.
Kiyoshima hits half the people in the team.
Yeah, it can't be Kiyoshima. it can't be RPK.
Happy is not even, he's just the fucking French exists. So why even go down that route?
So I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we left with? it was this. It was this or bust. And people can talk about Ziwu all they fucking want. I wouldn't wish this team on.
And it's supposed to be in that second French team anyway. So
yeah. I mean, ignoring rumors, for a moment, I wouldn't wish Ziwu on like, oh, this is your baptism of fire. Welcome to the pro scene. It's the dysfunctional G2 show. No kid deserves that. No kid deserves that. It sets you back. So, Sixer, Devil, Amanek, Duvadudek, like, fuck me, these names. It's sad,
those
right?
last two you just mentioned, by the way, it tilts me every time they're brought up for a potential, like, French super team scenario. It's like, that means you watched the two lands in Misfits where they looked really good. Like, first of all, the Devon Dweck guy barely did anything at any point in time. The Amanek guy had some carry performances at like fucking tier 3 lands and the odd map at the major. That was it. Like, he wasn't some revelation that, like, was like, him and ZU, you've got to get them. It's like, there's a reason the other team isn't getting those guys. Like, they don't give a fuck as far as I can tell about these players.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm mispronouncing. I don't give a fuck. I don't need to remember it, do I? It's not coming up. It's not coming up anytime soon. So seriously, I think Carlos is a shrewd owner. He'll look at this and see how it's not good enough. He watches the games, he'll crunch the numbers, and honestly, if you want a substandard team that aren't going to compete, there's probably better marketing options out there for you. And again, it's just about what you want to do. But if you want to send a team that's capable of winning tournaments out there for your money, it ain't this. So we can talk about some positives. We'll talk about some of the good storylines that kind of emerged. Let's start with Complexity. 3-0. Nobody saw it coming. What a fucking great storyline, because Jason Lake even tweeted out, we have not had an in-game leader as good as Stanislaw since the days of Trip, which is very high praise. Complexity for me, been a revelation. Yes, they got some fucking very fortuitous things go their way in terms of who they played, in terms of what the people that they played did. We already talked about how Fnatic just served themselves up on a platter. But
they did everything they needed to, and then everyone else did them a bunch of favors as well. It was a perfect storm,
The most legit win is the 16-8 over Big on Nuke. Didn't see that coming. I gave Big a slight edge on that. But look, let's talk about what a great story it is. You got these guys who there's all these stories like emerging, like, obviously Jason was putting them out there. Def turned down a big money move to Cloud9. I mean, that blows my mind immediately, because I don't even know what Cloud9 was sort of thinking about looking at him, because I don't think Def was ever the one, right? But whatever, had a good tournament. Stan redeeming himself, Shazam playing, lights out. But again, some of the names on the team that you're not expecting performances from, like fucking Ye, who looks like sort of a shrunk down Hotted or something going on. Fucking
that could
unreal.
Never be a compliment. Come on. All
right, I've gone too far, haven't I? All the things you said on the show, and that's where we went too far, was it? But like he's they played for Android was good. All the fucking, I noticed as well, all the fucking analysts were on that train immediately, weren't they? Like, yeah, fucking Android's gonna be a big player this event. Definitely. All right, pull that one out your fucking ass from nowhere then, I guess. But yeah, I think what Complexity have shown is now that they're gonna be, a respectable opponent, and Stan has got this system in place, and he's redeemed himself in terms of the eyes of. But I don't think anybody even doubted Stan so much. He just did the unfortunate ultimatum. Ultimatums are great when you get your way. When they backfire, not so much. And that's what happened at
Optic and G2. Optic and G2.
Yeah. He's done. He's done wonders here. This team is really, really good, and were good value for the 3-0 for me. What do you think?
Like I say, I think that it was a mixture of they played really well. Everyone against them, like literally, and this is not an exaggeration, all three teams did stupid vetoes. So Fnatic, who's not in good form, gave Complexity Inferno, got smashed. G2 gave them cash. I don't even get that one because that's the one that actually you let them play Inferno because it's the best map of G2. It's a map you play all the time.
Yeah.
There's a million VODs to study. You are Existence. What the fuck are you doing playing cash? A map that you're not even getting wins on. Then Big played them on Nuke. Based on my information, Big doesn't even play Nuke. So I don't know what, like, teams are just trying to, like, my read on that, by the way, is because these are like, look at the leaders, Existence, fucking God B. What's happened here is they're all thinking, this little fucking underdog team, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to toy with these fuckers in the Vita. What's that? I've actually pent myself in a corner. I'm playing a map I don't want to play. Shit. Like, you absolute cretins. Like, you should have just played into your wheelhouse. Anyway, the other part is, the last part, and this is like still part of their issue, is the three players, Shazam, Android, and Ye. There's no universe they're keeping the stats up that they've had at this point in time, mate. Like, they're at like fucking electronic simple fragging levels right now. Like, that just ain't going to continue. So
Stan too. Stan and Shazam.
Doing pretty well, yeah.
Stan and Shazam. This is going to blow your mind in terms of rating. So we're not just talking about fragging. In terms of rating, when we looked at it at the end of the games before the best of threes, so from 3 maps played,
they were finished at that point, yeah.
Right, Stan and Shazam were both in the top 6 for HLTV rating.
So, like, if I have to go put it this way, if they're a stock, I'm shorting them all the way now. When everyone,
I think Stan was like 4th overall.
So, like, I definitely don't buy that team's going to turn up. So my big problem with this one is, as much as it's a great feel-good story, I do think they're just going to lose to MIBR, and it's just going to be game done in the playoffs, and let's wait for the next tournament and see what they can do there. Great job so far, obviously. Did everything right. Everyone's contributed, played well. Problem is, I'm waiting for the first cracks to show, and then I want to see what they're going to do.
Well, look, that's the hardest series to call, I think, out of all the quarterfinals for me. I'll add that you know how it is mentally. First of all, to make it to the secondary stage, Shazam's like, I went out and I cried. And then you go 3-0, and now you're in the quarterfinals. There comes a point where exceeding expectations gets substituted in your mind for victory. It's natural when you're the underdog, right? And you will see underdog runs fizzle out on that basis because you still feel like a hero. You still feel like you made it, right? It's very rare an underdog keeps going and going and goes all the way to the trophy. Sometimes it is like that fucking Rocky 1. Like, you gave it your all, but you still lost, but you proved you're competitive. That's the win. That's what the storyline's meant to be. And sometimes players do buy into that. So I agree. I'm waiting on the first cracks. There's a counter argument, which they've been served a fucking mighty gift in the form of a dysfunctional MIBR. Because you'll never hear the end of it if Complexity beat MIBR. Oh,
yeah.
Never hear the end of that. That is one of those fucking, results that will be talked about down the ages.
If you look on paper, every MIBR player has one major or more majors. Every Complexity players in their first major playoffs. Like, everything's just sort of set up for the least sexy storyline for a fan because they want to believe in the underdog story. They want to believe the Cinderella. But sadly, this is one of those times where reality just kicks in and it's like, probably going to lose, I think.
Yeah. Then next up, Team Liquid. So it's been a great major so far for...
the only top team that's looked good the whole way.
Yeah, and I'll add, they did it by overcoming Astralis, right? So I mean, it's a different beast
in a very legit game as well.
Yeah. I mean, because they were ahead, then they were fucking choking. It went to overtime, and then obviously there's that famous quote by Naf: "I was pissed off of losing, so I just picked up an AWP."
It didn't work out for Drake in his career when he did that.
No. To have that, Drake-a-Lele, as he's now known, but to have that confidence and that swagger is great. I mean, like you say, Team Liquid have always been a team that have had that confidence block, and they don't seem to have that here. And they've been given a gift as well. Hellraisers in the next round. I'm super confident Liquid go to the semis again. I think they'll beat Hellraisers for sure. But like I say, a legit win over Astralis, one of the best games certainly one of the best of ones. Of the tournament.
I actually feel sorry for them that they've got Astralis on their side of the bracket, but then again, until they lose, I can't say that because for all I know, maybe this is where they beat them and then they have an easier final in the fucking majors there. That's the dream, right? If anything, this is the thing people don't realize. That's how you actually know if your team isn't a top team. If you're praying for that fucking easy bracket and can we just get easy put, that's how you know your team isn't a top team. Because when my teams are the favourites, like when I'm in it, people know I like Astralis in the past, very good. I want them to have the toughest run ever so that when they win, it's like the best fucking major run of all time. That's what you want if you're a top team, you know. So if your team Liquid, embrace the adversity.
And obviously the way they've done it is what's interesting because you've finally, I mean, if you're a long-standing Team Liquid fan, you remember the days of having Simple on the roster. And it wasn't all about Elise. You had Simple there too. And I think it's been a while since you've had a legitimate kind of, star that's going to play and basically outshine what Elise brings to the team. And perhaps if that were to happen, Elise wouldn't like it very much. But Twists has been insane. This tournament... Sorry, dying here. Got a cold coming on. Twists has been so good this tournament. One of the best players at the tournament, in one of the best teams at this tournament. And again, I mean, a player that has consistently improved. I mean, even when he was like playing at E-League, we were all like, this guy's going to be really, really good. Even when he first joined the team, we were like, this guy's going to be really, really good. We saw that he was good, and then we saw he got better, and then he got better. And this is career best form at the right time. I mean, like I say, if you think about the company he's keeping right now, Twists is up there with a Nico. Twists is up there with a Simple. Now, whether it's an aberration and this is a run of form, I don't know. But I'll definitely say there are indicators now to me to suggest actually he's going to be able to sustain this level of form for some time. And that can only be good if you're a Team Liquid fan or indeed a Team Liquid player. And
the guy is 18 years old. There's a reason why people always say this, right? So when I made that video that was like, age is not an excuse. Yeah, age isn't an excuse when the guy's now like 20 and they've played for 4 years and they've been on loads of pro teams and you're still expecting them to do like the 50% improvement the next year. That is delusional. But someone like Twists is still very inexperienced. Remember, last year was the first time he was going big stages and going super deep, This year, he's now 18 years old and had some time to settle into a top team, and he's playing with other top players, remember? So you don't automatically get everything your way. Now he's starting to come into his own. So I agree. That's the reason why in Team Liquid, even when they were losing, I always said he was like the X factor in as much as, unlike all the other teams, if you are a team that's like stuck at a level, like you're third best or something, and you never win, usually you have to either say, if there's someone amazing available, we gamble, or we just live with being third. Team Liquid, because they had Twists and he's so young, they actually had the option of like, he could just get better. And believe it or not, has happened so far.
Yeah, and also just as an interesting aside, there was a tweet made after the Astralis game. You know me, I always like that warrior storyline bullshit, players that like drag themselves through when they're not feeling right. Because I just think it's such a stark contrast to some of the fucking pampered babies that we got in esports. It's always nice when you hear about a player, that's been, battling health problems and whatnot, and they're able to still perform and they turn up and they don't shirk it, So Twist tweeted out that right now he's like been racked with a fucking bladder infection, which trust me, they ain't good.
Get your cranberry juice in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, I'm not going to speculate how he.
Well, here's the thing, Richard. You do know that they do go boot camp in Amsterdam. They do go in boot camp in Amsterdam, Richard. All I'm going to say is, that boy thought he saw the green light. That was the red light, my son. Anyway, you saw what I did there. So that was all above board.
You're outrageous. Yeah, I'm not going to speculate how he got it.
But we discussed it.
But they're fucking painful and they're not fun and you feel like shit and you can actually get sick, you can vomit and stuff off them as well. So depending on how bad it is, and it can obviously back up and go into your fucking kidneys. So
but just channel that fucking light irritation in your urethra and just shoot people in the head.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, like when he needs to pee, obviously it's like they had a tech pause.
It feels like a flamethrower.
Okay, well, yeah, it comes out actually like a throw. But it's not fucking gonorrhea, Duncan. I don't know why you're fucking knocking it up a notch like that, right?
Everything to me is like 1910 syphilis.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, exactly. And obviously he will be riddled with hallucinations, and no, it's not like that, right? no, basically, like when you got to go, you got to go, and it's painful when you go, but it's even more painful if you hold it in, right? So they had a tech pause because he had to like fucking make an emergency dash to the bathroom, and that was in the Astralis game. They won 19-15. So just good on him. Like really coming into his own at the moment, and I hope it continues. Because we've got this nice new generation of players coming through. And he's definitely one of them, and definitely a fucking person to watch. Hopefully, he can keep it going. As I said, I think Team Liquid beat Hellraisers in the quarterfinals, so I'm sure we're going to be talking about him a little bit later in the tournament. But yes, Team Liquid very good. A lot of people's pick to win this major. Obviously, that's going to be decided by what goes on with the Astralis game. Let's get to talking about Astralis. Been very good. Obviously, only lost in that overtime game to Team Liquid. They looked a lot stronger the second week than they did the first week, to be expected. Is this still Astralis' major, I guess, is the question. Is it still theirs to lose? Are we still 100% confident that Astralis is hands down the best team in the world? And actually, even though they've got a real shit draw, we can segue into talking about that. In fact, they've got to play fucking FaZe immediately. Well, meanwhile, Big, Na'Vi, MIBR, Complexity, Ultra, it's ridiculous that they're playing each other because that could be a final.
Of course.
But I mean, do we still feel good that Astralis is going to go all the way on this one? Because they were the favourites coming in. As
you say, like, I agree. Week one, they didn't look at the top form. Still only lost one game in overtime to a massively resurgent NiP on a map that NiP has proven to be able to play. So if that's your bad week, as you see with Astralis, their fucking lows are still ridiculous. Like, they're still such a good team. This week were fantastic. They only lost to Team Liquid, who actually straight up out-dueled them in a very, very good game. So I think it's telling that the two of the games of the tournament are the two games Astralis lost in overtime. Then you look at the squad. Like, they've got so much going for them still. No one looks like they've really, like, fallen off a cliff individually, so I can't really say that it's, like, a player issue. And then, since their main rival in terms of the other top teams that are looking good is Team Liquid, and Team Liquid famously, A, never wins against Astralis, and B, has not won a tournament aside from CS Summit, I think just by default, they remain the clear frontrunner because you look at all the other teams, as I've mentioned a couple of times now, everyone else has picked the worst time to be fucking diving off a cliff. Na'Vi's looking like shit. FaZe Clan have been tortured and had a change in game leader. MIBR is improved, but not enough to be probably event winner. The other teams are just too unproven, big, complexity. Like, it's like, I think just by default, Astralis kind of remain the clear favourite to me because, like, who's going to beat them? That's the question, right? It's a best of three phase now. Who's going to actually beat them?
Yeah, and this is what I mean. In BO3, they've still got to be favourites to against any of the teams left in the tournament.
They have a good draw against every single team, literally.
But okay, so we'll add FaZe into the mix. Obviously, they face each other in the quarters. FaZe battle back from that 0-2. Were able to beat Mouse Sports to start turning their fortunes around. And then they played, obviously, G2, which, again, was in the best of three. It's probably something of a gift. It's interesting. There was a lot of talk about them kind of... Karrigan had alluded to something on Twitter, and there was a lot of people speculating whether or not there might be some roster changes coming in, whether this team had gone as far as it could. There's an interview with Nico where he said, I just wasn't happy with the way things are going, so I said, when we were at 0-2, I said, I am now the in-game leader. Now, I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. It's Nico is as vain a Counter-Strike player as you're going to get. He is... having met the guy and talked to the guy, he is very, he's got the star mentality. Let's put it that way, which is fine. He is a star. Hopefully, it never changes because his perceptions of the world will be very out of whack with the reality.
And to be fair, he is like an absolute monster in the game. So if you're someone like him who had, and obviously the problem with him is he used up all his patience on Mouse Sports, mate. So when it's FaZe team,
true,
second place ain't good enough. It's time to get trophies. Like, I'm good enough already. One of the best players of all time. Why aren't we winning? It isn't me, so it's someone else. So it's one of those scenarios where it might even be justified.
Yeah, and I'd just be very concerned if I was a FaZe fan right now.
I mean, a vote of no confidence is like a death sentence to this team if you don't win for me.
Yeah, and it's like you get hammered by Big, you lose to Na'Vi, which, all right, maybe that's acceptable. I don't think it is. This was a very troubled Na'Vi coming into the tournament. And then, obviously, you were just sort of gifted, Ty Lue and everything else. So it's strange to me. I'll say positives. Guardian, looking good. Olaf Meister especially has really stood out for me. Obviously, he's somebody that's been in and out of the team, had all his personal issues. Definitely don't look to be affecting him here at this tournament. Really solid levels of performance from him. The big question mark becomes, well, what happens now? Nico obviously has been their best player. You've got this issue with the in-game leadership, and that is that you went to 0-2 with doing it Carrigan's way, as you put it. Nico takes over as in-game leader. They now go 3-0. What do you do for the later stages? And how does Carrigan feel about kind of being relegated to his fucking supporting role when he's the leader of the team? And this has happened embarrassingly before he faces his fucking personal nemesis, Astralis, a team he always wants to fucking stick it to every time he plays them because of the way they usurped him from the roster and replaced him with Glaive. I just think this is phase out in the quarterfinals. Like, I just think, honestly, if you'd had a motivated Carrigan going into the Astralis game, maybe he pulls something out the bag. Maybe he fucking finds just a way to beat Astralis. He knows them intimately. He knows even the mind games component, tendencies. He's got a level of insight into how to beat Astralis that few in-game leaders do. But now, even if you put him back in charge for the team, you're pretty much, like you say, giving him the vote of no confidence. What is the future here? What's this guide phase all the way to the fucking major final, but you're going to get kicked out anyway? Because Nico's,
I think he basically has to win the major or he probably gets kicked, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at. I mean, just reading between the lines, could be wrong.
Which isn't necessarily... Here's the thing. I'm a big Carrigan fan. Not necessarily unreasonable. He has blown all his chances. He can't say it was anyone else's fault.
Sure, and I think taking Carrigan out of this team is...
I think the team will fall apart, personally.
Yeah, I think it's...
I understand why they might do it, It's one of those things where you're in a tough spot.
I think it's a potential death knell for FaZe if that happens, because think about it. I mean, who's going to come in as a fucking in-game leader and manage?
I know they think that they'll do it. Like I could see them even being egotistical enough to be like, Nico does the in-game leading full time, and they bring in another. Like, that's for me. That's like
that's horrible.
Just like I call Mouse the budget phase, that will be the fucking expensive Mouse Sports stupid version of the same move they just did. So here's the thing as well. I actually can tell by this tournament that Carrigan himself doesn't have any confidence and doesn't have any confidence that this team's good. Because one of the things I've always said about Carrigan, right? I guess in a way I'm giving myself sort of like a mad humble brag that I call him the king of pick ban. And I think he always does something genius in pick ban, but it always makes sense to me. That's why it's the humble brag. Because obviously it's like, only me and you get it, Carrigan. All these fools, they don't understand. But normally he does it right. Go to this Legends stage and look at the teams he's playing and look at the maps they're playing against them. He's playing teams on what I would consider their best maps. Like, this isn't King of Pick Ban. This is someone where... My assumption there, by the way, isn't that he's thinking, you think it's your best map, it's matching map. I think they have no map pool. I think he tried to make Dust 2 work. That came back to bite him. I think he brought in, he thought, I used to be good on Overpass, bring that back. Mirage used to be my go-to with every fucking team. That doesn't work. They tried Cash. That didn't work from at past tournaments. So they've bombed that already. Nuke's one where, unless you're Astralis, no one really tries to play at the moment. There's no map pool, mate. Train, they've lost every fucking tournament on for the last few months. This is a nightmare. Like, I can see that he just run out of options at this point in time. And so the problem here is, what do we all know about the career of Carrigan? Amazing when you first get him in the team. First 3 to 6 months, maybe the best of almost any in-game leader in terms of track record. You give him talent, he'll get him into the right roles, get the map pool sorted, get you immediate results, maybe even start winning your trophies. But I tell you what, the last 3-6 months of Carrigan can be fucking shit. And that's where it goes. Because I think he's a guy who he has his mindset and his way. And when that dissipates, I don't think he's a guy who reinvents his game, who goes to the drawing board and changes it. I think he does things his way. And when it's not his time, he's fucking thumbing a lift to the next gig, isn't he? And by the way, like I said on Twitter, I agree with you. Even though I can see why they do it, because, push comes to shove, you're not winning, you might make the big move. There are put it this way, it'd be quicker to name the teams who shouldn't give Carrigan an offer if he leaves this team.
Well, so look, I brought the numbers up while you were just talking there. The last 3 months, their win rates on maps, and it's not good. Overpass is down to 50%. That was used to be a staple.
Amazing one,
only played it twice, so it's not that huge a sample size. Train obviously is down there. They played that 4 times, only won it half the time. Inferno 50%. They played Inferno twice. Cash 50%.
The Dust 2 one's going to be the killer, mate, because here's the thing. When I was doing my research for like the vetoes for that best of 3, Dust 2 is the map they've been picking as their map, but they're losing it almost every single time. In fact, that's how ridiculous FaZe is. They've been winning some of those series by just winning the other fucking team's pick.
Yeah, well, and this is where it gets sort of interesting. The maps they are playing and picking and playing a lot of, Dust 2 and Mirage, they're at a 62% win rate. You know, it's like
including shit teams you're playing, you know, the warm-ups, etc.
Yeah, if I was to go and like pick you any other top team right now and look at their numbers, they've got picks that are 80%, 75%, even teams that we think of as not being that great. Big have got like homer maps, you know, where they are going to fucking do a number, you know, the vast majority of the times, like, you know, 75% win rates. It's this isn't the all-conquering FaZe. You know, the crazy thing is we just never got the FaZe era. That's what blows my mind. All this talent, all this money, all that opportunity.
Came close.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they definitely did. But, I think all sorts of problems. I don't think a new in-game leader fixes them. Because
I don't either, but I just know the star player mentality, you know.
Yeah. Who's going to go into that fucking cauldron of egos and tell them this is how you do things? There's only fucking Rain, who seems to be fucking dialed in and based in reality. So I don't know, dude. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Then final ones I wanted to talk about. You know, I can give my props to Hellraisers. Obviously, don't want to talk too much about that because there'll be plenty of time later on. You know, Issa has been absolutely brilliant this event, and again, I made a point of tweeting at him actually because if you remember what we said on fucking By the Numbers. You're picking up players from Jordan now. You've just fucking given up, haven't you? And obviously, Issa and Woxic have been fucking massive for them. And I think Issa's the most important player in the team. So I did tweet at him saying, listen, you know, we all, from time to time, I may say something knee-jerk and stupid. And that was one of those times, for sure, because he's been brilliant. But I'll add that I don't think Hellraisers, I think they've already had their moment, you know, back in the, last 8.
And this wasn't a nice straw.
No, and then you get Liquid. It's the end of the run. But we'll talk about that next week, obviously. But I do want to talk about Big going through 3-1. This is a team you got to fucking take seriously now. And what a stark contrast to the Big that was, given those 3 best of ones on Inferno while there was a abusable bug in the game that Big had detected because Gobby knows everything about every map. It's a crazy situation. They are doing it as well. They are winning all these games while Nex has been abysmal. Fair enough, he stepped it up in the second week. The opening week, he was terrible. They're doing it with a young player, Tizian. They're doing it with Gobby, a notoriously low-fragging in-game leader. This team is, it's literally become pretty much the Smoothie show since he joined. Statistically, the best player every game without fail, playing lights out, permanent highlight reels. If you go watch the highlights of his games, even when he misses shots, he has a tendency to follow it up with something absolutely absurd. I think Tabson's getting back to that form we all wanted him to get back to, and Gobby certainly has looked a lot better than his usual levels of output in terms of fragging here. But there's a lot of question marks about this team, and yet none of it has seemed to matter. The carry potential of Smoothie is just propelling them through some tough opponents and tough games. You add that, the tactical foundation of God B. I don't know. I mean, I said on stream I've got Big to beat Na'Vi in the quarters.
I still think Na'Vi's going to beat him personally. Here's the thing. I actually do think of all the opponents that are a big name, that's the best one to play.
Sure.
Because Obviously, they can pick us too. Navi's fucking shit on it. Navi is likely to actually pick a map they play. Like, Navi might just go ahead and do something stupid like pick train, in which case series is absolutely on for Big. Problem is, I still just think the electronic and simple duos too much. And one thing I'm absolutely not a believer in is fucking Smooya's numbers so far, because go and have a look at his KPR. He is averaging over 1 kill per round.
Yeah.
That ain't going to hold.
Well, you say that, but I mean,
all of history supports that.
Yeah, absolutely. But
you know,
we don't need all of history. He's only got to keep it up for this tournament, doesn't he?
Sure. Yeah.
And this is where I wonder. Not a player who shies away from confrontation, and a player who likes to take.
Never been on the stage of the fucking majors, though, mate.
True, but I mean, he didn't get shook at ESL1 Cologne.
Yeah, but they still had the whole underdog factor there. They hadn't talked a lot of shit at that point in time. It's Big's home base, all the crowd, all that bullshit. I personally listen. Every now and then I'm wrong. So, for example, Cloud9 at the last major, a bunch of them had never been in the playoffs. They obviously did amazingly, but generally that tends to hold true. Either you're going to go on and become a great player, in which case maybe it's not a problem for you. Maybe first time in, you're good. Most players struggle. You've seen it from the North lineups. You've seen it from a whole bunch of lineups. They get into that scenario, it doesn't work out as well, or you just even play marginally worse, and all you need is that little gap. Navi's fucking grinders. Admittedly, they've been shit at this tournament, so I will say they haven't done a lot of that at this one. But the storyline of Navi normally is they are good at winning fucking ugly games.
Yeah, and look, so this is why I'm leaning more towards Big on this one. So first of all, I already know that Godby has done what he does every fucking tournament in every team he's ever been in since the days of 1.6. He has gone into the fucking Matrix. He knows everything about Na'Vi. And let's be real. If you think Zeus's tactics are sophisticated in any way, shape, or form, you're not paying attention to the games and how Na'Vi are winning games. So first of all, in terms of dismantling them tactically, and almost imagine Godby went into the Matrix going, right, but Zeus was a very potent in-game leader in 1.6. Obviously, I know Fatty quite well, so I've been around him. So it's nice.
He's a fucking human as well.
Calm down. I looked at the team, and there are no tactics. There just are no tactics. It's just simple kill people. So I know that he's... That
is a fucking hell of a tactic, though. I can't lie.
Yeah, it's potentially unstoppable. But in the hands of Godby, right? Also with Smooya, who is going to want to make a point of humiliating Simple, to say, I'm the fucking king now, I'm the daddy now, Ray Winston style in Scum, again, to drop that reference no one's going to know about, right? Fucking, I'm telling you, if anybody can shut down Simple, and while I was doing the stream, I was talking to Steele, Josh, in-game leader, talking to Davey, and they were saying that a big part of a team's prep is you look at the AWP, you look at the star player, and you think, how the fuck do we shut them down? If anyone can do it, it's Godby.
I like the narrative, but the part of the problem I have with
narratives don't always sync up to reality, absolutely.
Sure. But I mean, there's also the factor of what was my point there? I forgot it, actually. Yeah, you throw me a bit on.
No, it'll come back to you. It's all that talk about Ray Winston and Scum. It'll come back to you. But look, I think if the narrative does fucking sync up with reality, I mean, Big are a good bet then to then even potentially take the next game, because they come up against MIBR, they come up against Complexity. This could be an insane, if they beat Na'Vi, they go to the final. I think I'm being deadly serious here. It seems unthinkable. But an Astralis Big final at this major, that's the way my water is tingling. And I think, look, in terms of them matching up with Na'Vi as well, enough has to be enough at some point. Simple and Electronic.
Oh, I've remembered it now. Right,
yeah,
I know what the point is. The problem is,
long enough.
in your narrative there, what you did not mention is they've just been to the final of ESL1 Cologne, right?
Yeah. Yep.
This is their next big tournament. They're at this major now. Chance to win a major.
Yeah.
Got an amazing draw.
Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, well, that's what I want to segue. That's what I was going to segue.
Is it?
No, but listen, that was going on during Cologne. Yeah. So what we're talking about here, guys, is I'm sure some of you
bought himself a few more months, a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, I'm sure people have heard the rumors. It seems insane. I mean, Smooya himself, because obviously he is the Rat King, and he's so
a habitual player.
Yeah, he's so much of a rat. He even ratted himself. He even ratted on himself with that tweet about, what's better than 4 Germans and 1 UK player, 5 Germans, alluding to the fact that obviously he might be getting kicked, which is just First of all, it's a bonkers thing to do. Second of all, it is a bonkers prospect. But again, I'll take you back to sources say by DK, and I've heard the very same rumors that Smooya himself apparently isn't happy in the team. I mean, I understand that. Nex is a travesty, and there was a tweet by him where he was like he tweeted out like, I think Nex was like playing fucking Dota or League of Legends or something. He took a picture of it and tweeted it out going, training hard for the next round of the major.
Good teammate. Good guy.
No, but here's the thing. If it wasn't Smooya, I'd be like, that's just a bit of banter between teammates. Because it's Smooya, I'm not sure.
Oh, no.
Because he is the fucking Rat King, we'll never know. He'd have to explain it to us, and of course he wouldn't want to explain it to us. He instead just would want to go, I'll just fucking fat fucking bald losers, like I'm fucking the king, me, like no. All right, good, awesome, great conversation. So apparently there's a chance he even leaves at the end of the major. Now, what the fuck happens? Where does he go?
That's the question. Like, I will say, he's obviously very young himself. I think he's 18 or something, right? He's pretty young. So, to be fair, the follies of youth, yes, we understand that. Talented players who don't know what the fuck they're doing with their social life, that's another aspect. But that's the question, isn't it, Richard? Because I'm not kidding you right now. There's no team that's better than Big that he's getting a spot on.
Well, because...
I mean, maybe... Especially because here's the other thing. He's not even friends with Def, he said in interviews. So he's not going to Complexity.
No, but so this is the madness, right? This is the madness. What you have to remember is it's not enough to break out. It's not enough to break out these days. Not if you want to be on a tier 1 world-class team. Breaking out's great. Breaking out will always give you the opportunity to play to play professionally. But if you want to play on a winning team, you want to play on a championship team, breaking out's not enough. You got to break out and sustain. And if within 2 deep tournament runs, 2 tournament runs where you have exceeded expectations, you are removed from the team or you leave the team amid rumors that you don't get on with your teammates, you haven't sustained it for long enough to justify a big old coming in and picking you up. It won't happen. They simply will not do it. FaZe aren't going to come in and go, we need to sell more bloody FaZe t-shirts in the UK. How can we do it?
Richard, I actually believe players like him, because they're so young and inexperienced, really do buy their own hype. Like, when Smooya was on that fucking, Epsilon team, he really thought, if I was playing these guys, I'd drop 40 and I'm like, I do an FPL. So you wouldn't do any of that shit, mate. Like, you've had a good run so far. You weren't even the one that carried the fucking ESL1 Cologne one. So if you think, beat FaZe, why wouldn't they recruit me? Because you're you and they're them. Have a fucking... chill pill and just have a look at your life for a second,
But that's what I mean. Like, think about how long, it wasn't like it was some mad overnight story for the legendary Fnatic players, was it? It wasn't like, they were grinding away, they had the LGB players,
almost
all of this stuff.
Does. It's actually extremely rare that anyone goes straight to the top. I made this point in the past. That's why people like Nico and Simple, it's no surprise they ended up being absolute fucking phenoms. They are prodigies at the game. Like, the other people... You move up the ladder 1 rung at a time. That's why I always use that metaphor.
Yeah. And again, I just don't know. Like, I wished somebody, and I hope it still happens. I hope somebody can be like, there's a middle ground. They put their arm around him. They explain to him, yes, the arrogance, you need that. The ego, you need that. This is all good, right? If you're going to go head to head and say, listen, we're going to body bag whoever we play next, publicly, then you need the ego and swagger to go and do it on the server and not have that in your head. Brilliant. Draken could learn a lot of lessons from Smooya. Not too many, though. That would just make things worse. And that's the problem. That, unfortunately, he goes too far the other way. He believes, you remember when Simple was considered a toxic teammate and Liquid didn't want to play with him? And again, all these stories about, how... when he was playing FPL, he would see somebody die and go, why are you so shit? And he would just say that to them, just straight out. Reminds me a lot, actually, if you watch that season of fucking Kenny Powers, the 3rd season, where he comes back and plays on that, shit team. And there's this unbelievable, Russian pitcher in there. And he tries to explain to him what a has-been means. And he goes, Kenny goes, I didn't like it when you called me a has-been, and I don't really think it's appropriate in my case. And he goes, oh, I see, because I thought a has-been meant that someone who once was great but now is shit. And that is not you, yes? And Kenny's like, I still don't really see how that applies. Fucking that guy is like Simple. Simple was just straight fucking telling people, like, I even had players saying to me, like, if they were playing B on a bomb site and they were dying, Simple would literally go, listen, shit cunt, I show you how hold B now, watch. And he would go to B and just play their position, kill everyone, of course, and win the round and go, you understand now? And then he would just go back to, like, imagine this guy.
And they didn't even thank him for the free lesson.
Yeah,
taking time out of his busy schedule to show this shit little cunt how to play B.
Yeah, now obviously
I love the part though where he just goes there and kills everyone with him and goes, just do that.
No, but that's the madness.
No, that's the madness. Yeah.
You're waiting for him to get humiliated, but he's the best player in the world, so it doesn't happen, you know. So it is amazing, but even Simple has had to learn. Wait a minute, I am the best. Yes, I am amazing. Yes, I can carry my team with people like Edward in it to win us tournaments, yes, but I cannot be a cunt all the time. I have to give something back. And I don't think Smoothie gets that part of the lesson yet. I think he's going to have to go through the same position, the same progress, the same journey that Simple had to go through, where literally even people in Team Liquid, knowing that he would, do all this wonderful stuff and just didn't want to play with him, that they were going to the organization.
Yeah. Exactly. The best example is he took people who, before he came to their team, never made the playoffs of big international teams. They were doing nothing with their careers. They were like never were's, who everyone was like, oh, give them time. Came to their team. He's making them straight to majors. They go to the fucking final of a major. They've beaten Na'Vi online. They've beaten Fnatic online. They're just putting legends in body bags. And after that tournament, people in his team go, if it's him or me, I'm fucking out.
Yeah. Yeah, like legit. We don't want him to come back. It was great. We're all there.
Example of talent being enough, because that's the problem. Talent. I had the same problem when I was young. Anything I was good at, I thought that alone should be the only metric judged on. And it doesn't matter like how anti-social you are. Like, doesn't matter. I'm better than you at this aspect. It's like that is so meaningless to a lot of people in life. Like a lot of people will take factors like, do they like to be around you? Are you a reliable person? Will you forgive their mistakes? These are much more important to most normal people, especially because unlike you, they don't have the same talent. So they don't see it that way. They judge it on a different scale.
Yeah.
Let's
end the tournament talk as we wind down the show just by talking about MIBR. Obviously, the most requested VOD from the No Majors Club is, Richard, when are you going to fucking upload the 16-0 Astralis
16-0 in a major?
Yeah, first 16-0 in a major. Astralis beating MIBR, because obviously we watched it together and did the alternative commentary. I think it was me, you, and Scoot. And everyone's like, when are you uploading that pod? I've got to hear Duncan. I'm like, first I've got to strip out all the Corralho inducing insults and then render it. So it's going to be a few days minimum. But let's talk about MIBR. I mean, fair play, bounced back with in the best of threes after a 16-0. Couldn't have been easy for them. I will say as well, sometimes that element of Brazilian fans we've talked about on the show for years, you don't help your own cause, right? You don't help your own cause when the players try and make light of what is very obviously a humiliating experience and a bad experience. And who the fuck wants to get 16-0 at a major? Stewie 2K obviously made a joke about it and said, I was preparing for the Astralis game, closed my eyes, and we got fucked. What happened, right? And Brazilian fans replying to him, it's not your country whose name you're disgracing. Did the same to Tarek, attacking the players.
Hell. I hadn't thought of that. Remember, if the Brazilian players get the backlash, God already helped the Americans. I'd just stay quiet.
But that's the thing. And then obviously quite cleverly what they did today was after this subsection of Brazilian fans were basically accusing Tarek and Stewie of not being invested in the project because they're not from Brazil.
Problem is as well, they are Tarek's just baiting them all the time on Twitter by tweeting nothing, Because remember, that's the justification for all the bullshit they gave.
Yeah, of course.
This is the narcissist dream. It's like, you made me do it. So yeah, of course I did. Yeah, sound.
But they put out a tweet today of like Tarek in bed, like learning Portuguese, right? And I'm like, it's very obviously a controlled PR thing. Like, I mean, listen, I know you probably think I'm looking too much into it, dog, but
Like, I know the brain works differently. Like, for example, you can go to any third world country and a guy who's illiterate and has no education will learn the language of the country he's born in. Yeah. But, like, you know what? I hate to be the guy who kills people's potential and dreams. Tarek, you will never learn any kind of fluency in Portuguese, but I'm just telling you that right now. Like, you've done well with English. Stick with that. You've learned Counter-Strike in English. Now just fucking leave Portuguese. Not least because you fuck around with that shit. What happens when you say the wrong thing? You're like,
that is
my bad.
Coralho.
You're
Coralho
bad, guys.
Off the chop.
You were the one who threw this game. I did just say it's my bad, yeah, and I threw the game in. Yeah, they all want to kill you. Oh, bloody. Oh.
I mean, I think you're being pretty harsh and Tarek.
Some of it was a joke, but yeah.
No, but listen, though, obviously it is hard to kind of think maybe there's not some truth to it when you see him, like, he forgets what fucking team he's on. He's like, he even did it.
He's done that like 3 times. I think he's done it on every team. He was like, fucking CLG.
I thought we were playing. Yeah, he said to me, I thought we were playing G2, then I realised that we're not on Cloud9. You know, like, just.
Wait a minute. Did I tell my girlfriend to drop dime on everyone or not drop that? Coralho.
Yeah, massive Coralho. Learn that word, my friend. But look, so I want to talk about MIBR because bounce back from that 16-0, obviously humiliating, but bounce back in fine fashion. You know, they looked like NIP was a tough opponent. NIP looked great this major. The hunger is back. The
most fire screwed over team as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, NIP
should have been in the playoffs all day long.
Yeah, NIP, the draw NIP got here,
disgusting.
Is inhuman. Like, listen, I am not fucking one of these people who are like ever going to encourage these like ridiculous fucking fan bases who are already like, but I love NIP.
People have gone too far. Yes,
you can feel genuinely aggrieved about what happened to NIP at this tournament in terms of who they had to play. It was unreal, and the fact that it hung in the balance with a best of 3 against MIBR, which they could have conceivably won, is a testament to how far they've come since Lekro joined. Get right back, looking healthier, got that hunger back. I feel unbelievably sad that we're not going to see NIP in the playoffs. No doubt about it. I guess it's just the way the cookie crumbles. But anyway, let's talk about MIBR. You know, they course corrected after that 16-0. Looked very good against NIP. That takes a lot of fortitude, a lot of courage. I don't know how much Janko had to do with it or Fallen had to do with it. And it's interesting. All of the stuff seems to be like kind of aligning for them as a team. You know what I mean? Again, that periphery stuff. In the same way, it was all like wrecked for Fnatic. Actually, it's kind of like, listen, the worst's happened. You've had the 16-0. You know, you saw Cold. It's had like a galvanizing effect. You saw coldzera after the Stewie 2K profile went out tweet. I'm immensely proud to play on the same team as this guy. Let's go out and win the major together. You know, sure, maybe that's a little bit contrived. The tweets of Tarek learning Portuguese, like, I don't know. I got this feeling with him that actually the 16-0 was like some sort of like profound wake up call and might actually have like better long term effects. That, listen, the days of living on fucking past glory and reputation, they're fucking over. We have got to start stepping the fuck up. This is a big money project with big sponsors. We're big name players. The 5 of us have got to figure this the fuck out. Or rather, with Janko, there's 6 of us. And I don't know, maybe, and then you get complexity in the next round. Maybe this is serendipity. I don't know, because MIBR, if they get their shit together, they could certainly beat a big or a Na'Vi. It's not out in a best of 3, not outside the realms of the possibility. So what do you think? What do you make?
This is about the only sort of bracket draw they could get where you could have seen them go to the final, you know. Otherwise, you would definitely be looking at that big name, Team Liquid and Astralis, maybe even FaZe, and going, that's probably it for you. That's as far as you go. But no, you're right. You've got the good bracket draw. The thing about MIBR is, right, I definitely didn't like the hype around them, because the hype starts by winning that Zotac tournament where literally nobody worthwhile was at the tournament. So that's completely worthless. DreamHack Stockholm, not their fault. They got Astralis in the quarterfinals, so they got stopped too early. I didn't get a chance to see enough of them, you know. I saw some. Then at this tournament, generally, I think like if you draw a line through all the performances, it's pretty solid. All the indicators are pointing upwards. The issue for me is how quickly does it go upwards and how high up does it go? Because my issue is, like, I think the level you've seen so far is just who they are at the moment. I don't think you're going to see this big level up in the playoffs. Now, the bracket, as you say, means that might not even be necessary, might be able to get through some epic games. They still are a very different team to the old SK. Like, they have none of that sort of, like, ridiculous clutch factor and, like, you know, where it's so hard to beat, as you saw by the 16-0, you know. I think they're a very different squad, so I think Janko's done a good job. It seems like a noticeable difference to me. Map pool seems fairly wide. I think he's fixed that. I am a little bit concerned that I don't feel as though they've got like I don't think they've got a go-to map. Like, it was actually going to be Dust 2 before this. I don't think they've got that map that's like, if we get them on this map, it's like, I think they've got a solid map pool. They can play everyone. So as a result, I think a lot of it personally comes down to firepower. And that's been like improved. Like, Fallen's definitely back, but some of it's still not clicking. Like, they still haven't got all the players on. Like, for example, that's the crazy thing about the NIP run. NIP has got everyone except Dennis actually playing legit Counter-Strike. Their firepower is living up to potential. MIBR's still a bit off. And I have to figure part of that's roles, because you've got players where some of them are playing roles they've never played or don't suit or wouldn't be ideally playing, which is never a good situation. But you're making the best of what you got. So I'm with you. The bracket gives them an outside chance. Their actual form right now, like, put it this way, I think if they went now against Team Liquid, fucking Astralis in the best, I think get murked. And they get really, they're beaten up nasty.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think they definitely need to swerve Astralis for as long as possible. Fortunately, they can only meet them again in the final now. So, I mean, it's that's the good news, right? And they're definitely on the easier half of the bracket. Now, look, you wrote an article which was about Stewie 2K. Saying, Stewie, show me more. You don't mean you want him to undress in front of you. You mean you want him, I assume.
There's anything wrong with that?
No, absolutely not. I'm sure maybe you want that as well. But what you meant was,
what I want. Even I don't know sometimes.
I know.
I've been known to act against my own best interests before, believe it or not.
Incredibly true. But you saying you want him to show you more, be a bit more confident, deliver a bit more on the server, get back to the young Stu that we know from Cloud9, who was integral to their success. I wanted to just add a few points about that. I know obviously the show's running on a little bit longer than usual, but I wrote a column for VP Esports where I said Tarek and Stu were definitely right to bail on Cloud9 and take this chance with MIBR. And I talked a lot about how it's pretty brave of Stu. Again, he could have just sat there in that team with his, good friend Tim and fucking all the boys and been the star and know that the org was always going to back him on every play, everything he wanted. That's the dream for most star players, to have the backing of the org and the backing of like the other two star players in the team and basically just have your full run. When you want to be in-game leader, you get to be in-game leader. It's like Nico at Mouse Sports. That's why he stuck around when you're playing with like, players that aren't as good as you, but it's my project. I run this. I am the franchise player. Instead, Stewie decided to bail because he saw the opportunity to go and play with a legendary in-game leader in the form of Fallen, and those opportunities very rarely come around in a career, so he took the gamble. And I can only respect him for that, because it shows a level-headedness and a maturity that most young players definitely don't have. I think Stewie's the best thing to come out of NA and since fuck knows how long, forever. But you're right. I think since he's joined, because he's playing the fucking student to the master, he hasn't looked like his old self. He's had some bad games. His play style is very different to what it used to be. And I agree. I think if he can just get that confidence, I mean, he did reply to you saying, I will show you more. So maybe he's feeling it. But if he can just start being, the smoke criminal pushing, lack of respect, like doing what he needs to do to kind of like find his place within the team, still within the structure, but make those plays. Don't be afraid to do it. Like, Fallen's not going to, if the team is in good shape, as what everyone is saying it is publicly, if that 16-0 had the galvanizing effect that it seems to have had, Fallen's not going to fucking cuss you out because you tried to make a star player play and it didn't work. Think about it. He put up with Coldzera, who must be an uncoachable player through his best. And they notoriously argued, but they always stayed together because the results were there. So I agree. I want to see more from Stewie. I hope he can deliver, because I think he's a fucking phenomenal talent. I think he's still got that potential to be one of the biggest stars in the world, like, for me.
It's because the sad thing is part of the reason why I had the impetus behind that article. It's the same reason why when the playoff draw was announced, I made that tweet to all of the active starting players of Team Liquid, asking them if they're going to fuck around again or if they're actually going to do something to win the tournament, basically, like challenging them. Because one of the things that tilts me about the NA region is there's only two ways people go, and they're both so extreme. You either love the player, and so even if the guy comes like 5th to 8th and plays like shit and loses to a team he's supposed to beat, you go, never mind, you did a good job, you're a good player, I think you did a great, I support you anyway. That doesn't help anyone, mate. Like, he needs his own family as that support network. You know, you have your family, you have your friends. They're the people who tell you that sort of shit, you know, keep your head up, etc. People who actually want the guy to succeed, you have to have expectations. Sadly, in NA, they don't just go in the middle, they go the other way. Then they go, you piece of shit, you could never win anything, you'll fucking never do it. And the best example of this, by the way, is League of Legends, where NA has essentially never done anything internationally, literally ever, almost. I think like CLG making the MSI final once is about it. Like, because they've had this mad logic of like, you're either really good and everything you do is fine, so no need to improve, no need for growth, no need to like sharpen your toolkit, force yourself to do more, expect more, or you're pure shit and you just learn to ignore those people eventually. So I want someone to actually sort of like challenge these guys. Don't tell them you're shit and you're not going to do it. What you do is you tell them you've got talent, but let's actually see it. You've got potential. How about fucking delivering on it? Oh, you've broken down in the past. Are you going to keep doing that? Is that who you are? You're a loser? Or you're a guy who actually pushes through? Because they all want to tell you a good game of like, oh, I'm confident and I believe we can win all this. Anyone can fucking say it, man. We learned that years ago. Go watching any boxing promo. The shit guy on the bottom of the undercard thinks he's going to be the champion one day. He's not. So the point is, we want that attitude when it's real. It's not about the words, it's why you're saying them. When I actually believe that Stewie 2K thinks he's going to win this major, then I'll start getting very interested in MIBR.
Yeah, I agree. He's got a big part to play. So show should have ended. A couple of quick hits because we'll end on some comedy. Right? People like to watch the show to be informed and entertained, and we're funny guys.
Actually, quickly, let me just say before the end of the episode, if anyone's wondering, because this is going to seem actually a miss that we don't address this. So when the playoffs begin in a couple of days and you watch the playoffs, you can now forget what I said on the past episode and what I tweeted about the nasty surprise that might be coming, because based on things I have heard, that has now been rectified. And by the way, before anyone thinks, see, you never needed to do it. No, use your brain, dipshit. It's because we made a big deal out of it. That coupled with someone thinking better means now that won't be a problem anymore. So you're welcome.
So okay, I'll elaborate a bit more on that. Sure. Yeah, basically there was going to be a very fucked up talent decision being made. Someone was going to get cut unceremoniously from the broadcast. We got wind of it. We were obviously talking about that was going to be the nasty surprise. It's not happening now. And that person is going to be where they rightfully belong. So we're very happy about it.
See how easy it is, face it? Nothing but good things. Great. Looking forward to the playoffs.
But I must add, Face It did do something great for the talent. They Anders, they sent Anders home so we could spend some time with his kid between the commentary, on their dime. They definitely didn't have to do that, so I'll give them a shout out there. But I am also told from my sources that they watched the last episode of By the Numbers.
Who can imagine that, eh?
Yeah, and
did they enjoy it?
They're disappointed, but they listened to a lot of it. Apparently, they were like
very disappointed in them being cunts. There you go. So in your next incarnation on the fucking wheel of Samsara or whatever, and maybe try not being an absolute twat.
Yeah,
I'm doing my best, not always succeeding. So how about you fucking do your part? You egg bearing cunt. Simple of rebirth to life. Funnily enough.
One of the best parts about it is apparently they're so triggered about they're really triggered about the unlimited eggs thing. No, it's hilarious after all the criticism because they're like, because it's the logo as well on the alternative stream.
Yeah, it's banter.
Yeah, no. One of the fucking lines was, as if the only thing right we've done is the unlimited eggs. It's like the unlimited eggs thing is in their fucking head. I actually did see a comment as well on Reddit where there was it might have been in one of the feedback threads that they put up as soon as things started going right, which I noticed Face It did. The second week's gone real smooth, so now's the time for feedback thread. No, you're wrong. The time for a feedback thread was back when it was a shit show. But somebody replied going, there have been a lot of people saying that this is the worst major of all time, but those people obviously haven't heard about the unlimited eggs.
That's sick. 'Cause it sounds like he's going to go,
no.
but I think it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he set it up and then he dropped the unlimited eggs. So I'm fucking loving the fact. This is what I mean, guys. You can think I'm a fucking arsehole. My shit sticks, right? It is the stickiest shit in the game. We got the fucking Rat King, right? That's just his life now. We got fucking unlimited eggs. I gave Vince's subs their name. They're now called the Vincels. He hit his fucking sub target overnight. People want to be Vincels. I'm a marketing genius.
Someone get that, because I'll combine memes. So do you remember someone did that sick picture where they took Moses' bald head and put it on Chad's head? And because they have the same beard, they look like the same person. I mean, to be fair, they're just a beard with a fucking head. Like, we know there's nothing crazy going on. I mean, I'm fine company to be saying that, but okay. So I thought your fucking logo was a photo, just very low quality lighting or something. Anyway, so take that meme, which is a sick meme in its own right. Fair play, whoever did it. Then take the 1960s Batman TV show, the fucking Eggman or whatever his name was. That cunt that was just one of the shittest villains of all time. Take him and combine the meme somehow, and then have Dr. Evil in there with his bald head. Unlimited eggs.
Yeah.
Like, sir,
1 million eggs. Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Combine all the memes.
Send
it to Michelle Atasani on Twitter.
So anyway, look, listen. The show's almost gone for 2.5 hours now. Do you want to bring up those other two things you linked? I reckon we can get through them pretty quick.
Yeah,
I'll just point mine out real quick, right? I don't know if you saw what was going on. Like, Kassad is now a coach over at it's Valiance, is it? I want to say
yes.
Yeah. Well, they lost to Tempo Storm, and he put a tweet out which he now deleted. I don't know why people would ever do this.
I love this.
I don't know if you can bring it up, Sam. I don't know if you're lagging or whatnot this week. We had a bit some lag problems with the technical stuff. All right, yeah. Where he just literally said, "Yeah, fuck this, I'm out." Who fucking does that?
And then he just thought better, and he goes, "Actually, not out."
Yeah, actually, wait. If I'm out, I don't get a salary. I might not get a salary. I'm genuine, man. I'm in.
Fuck this, I'm out. I'm back in.
Yeah, I'm straight back.
At least
just when I thought I was out.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, it was fucking banter that. I saw that. That gave me a good fucking chuckle. But then the one you brought up is if, right? Okay.
Of all the people, Richard, who would ever pull a Smith's Yoles Noob.
Yes, that's the brilliance of it, right? Because here's the thing. At least when Smiths insulted everyone who wasn't Smiths or played professionally by doing the whole Yoles Noobs thing that you don't understand, like, even when my score's bad, I'm still somehow good. The ultimate mindfuck, the ultimate gaslight on the whole community, right? I
love that. By the way, I'll give credit to Smiths. That is gangster in itself, thinking, right, everyone thinks I suck dick. I'm going to gaslight all of them that I'm actually amazing. See if I can just change every mind in one go. Who are you, fucking the illusionist or something? What are you doing?
Yeah, no, it's a banger. Well, basically, of all the players I expected to follow in those fucking footsteps, definitely not Dead Fox. I would never have thought, like, there's no way Dead Fox is going to say, yo, Les Noobs. Now, I will add the caveat before we have a bit of fun. It's not even fun at his expense, right? Because, listen, Dead Fox was pretty bad in Hellraisers for a while. He had some terrible form. This major, I actually get it now. I understand. He's had some good rounds. He's good. So like you said, there's those flashes. Well, he's had a lot of flashes at this major. So actually, I'm all right with it. I'm at peace. Dead Fox, yes. Hashtag my Hellraisers. I'm all right with it, right? But he did put this up on a Facebook page, which I will now read to you. This post is not for those who support me. Sorry in advance. Love you guys. And I always love it when people do a message to the haters.
I love it.
Me, I know. Immediately you're fucked. A message to the haters. Okay, I need to address an issue. It's definitely not an issue. You're still getting your salary. You're still in the team. Who gives a fuck if people say you're bad? I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting paid, but whatever. Not long ago, we made a video where we reacted about negative comments on our team, and I mentioned that without me, there would be no HR. Ridiculous thing to say.
No arrogance there.
Yeah, and he goes and this is used against me a lot recently, as it would be. It's probably not what you meant. What you meant to say is, I do play an integral partner team, but maybe
what he means is they couldn't do what they are doing without my part. But the problem is that statement sounds like he's taking the gaslighting further. Smith's implied he's a good player and knows what he's doing. He didn't just say that whole fucking team was me. No, exactly. When you saw Shoxy fragging, me. When you saw Scream, me. Like that's what it sounds like when you say that line.
No, of course.
This communication's on your end, Dead Fox, not theirs.
Yeah, and then he follows it up with smart asses. It's like, no, listen, dog. Like
that's way better than your Les Noobs, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's way better.
Yeah, right. So it is way better than your Les Noobs. It's like, listen, the miscommunication's definitely on you, brother. Like 100%, right? Anyway, smart asses. Just because my KD is negative or I don't have as many frags as Issa or Woxic does not mean I don't fit into the team well. Why do you think I'm still here? I mean, it's Hellraisers would be an explanation. Yeah, but let's not.
He's the Spitfire, you know.
Yeah. Let's not dwell on it too much. Why did we reach this far into the major? Think of it. Because good draw, Issa and Woxic, all of these questions, pretty easily answered without using the word Dead Fox in my vocabulary. Honestly, like the word Dead Fox would never come up. But okay, think a bit before you criticize me only because of a simple sentence in the background of which you have absolutely no idea about. Plus, on the other hand, you also have no idea about the in-game part. You have no idea about the in-game part at all. Yeah, you just don't know anything about the game. Like officially, you know nothing about it. I mean, this is crazier than Smith. Smith said you're a noob. Dead Fox is saying you know nothing about the game at all.
Couldn't even conceive of the things that are going on in his mind.
No, definitely not. About the sentence, it is completely true. Like you could walk it back. You could walk it back and just say what I meant was no.
This statement was taken completely out of context. Yeah, I completely stand by it.
And I'd like to double down on it 1,000%.
No, it's unreal.
And I will not be offering any explanations because you wouldn't fucking understand them anyway.
Mate, he has pushed all his fucking chips into the table with a pair of twos. It's fucking insane. About that sentence, it is completely true. If it wasn't for me, the team would have fallen apart. No one can do what I do.
Throws them all under the bus there while simultaneously bragging.
This is brilliant. I play the most despicable position. I fucking love Dead Fox now, dog. I fucking love this guy.
It's just a game, isn't it? There's nothing that bad.
I die first a lot of times so I can get traded. Of course, if I go first and get 2 entries and a free bomb site, no one ever talks about that. I haven't seen those highlights to be fair.
One time that happened, I can't remember, mate.
I don't care about these things anymore, which is why I'm making a Facebook post about it, since we have reached this level. But yes, this is a team-based game. If it was not clear for you guys just yet, keep looking at my stats and bad KD or when I have more deaths than kills, but there is a reason I'm still here. Once again, sorry for everyone, but I needed to clear this up because many people have no idea about this stuff and keep attacking people, meaning me, for no reason, meaning good reason.
With a good reason, you said to
it. Mental in it. Like, I play. So this is it now, right? Like, despicable fucking Dead Fox. As if you've dropped that. As if you drop a word like despicable. Like, I hope you like the word despicable. Because now you're going to get bombarded not only with despicable Dead Fox. You know who else likes to say fucking despicable? Fucking Daffy Duck. Okay. So you will find
you were going to go with Despicable Me.
No.
Fuck in the group.
Take that and do a fucking Photoshop of Dead.
Yeah, all right. There you go then. I mean, the best thing is he's got such a small face anyway. You could get maybe he only does have one eye. It's hard to tell sometimes.
Maybe he actually doesn't have a small face. His face is just making space for the rest of his head. And actually... and he's got a despicably small face, hasn't he?
What's he said this for? What's he done this for?
Why are y'all out there with a normal-sized face criticising him? How do you think he's gotten this far in a major with a tiny little face the size of the Queen's on a postage stamp? If he ever's on a Hungarian postage stamp, he'll just pause the fucking trace around his head. guys ended like this? That is one of the best fucking statements I've ever seen. I'm right glad the upward I saw that. It's better than this one, isn't it?
Man,
Despicable pauses.
Oh, man, I've never seen a statement like that from any pro player in all my life. I thought Smiths was the worst, man. Dead Fox has fucking done it. He's officially proved he's better than Smiths, mate. Right, there you go. Yeah, we'll end on a high. Fucking hell. Right, anyway. So there you have it. Sam, you will... Yeah, I will do the rivalry plug. So obviously, thanks very much to my sponsor, Rivalry.gg. Reminder, if you want to support the show, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support the No Majors Club, all the other CS-related content that we do, all the esports-related content we do, and of course, keep Sam in sweet Skrilla and salaried, go to rivalry.gg/RLS, and you will qualify for up to $350 of bonuses. You will also be able to... ask them any questions about whether expanding to if it's not in your area yet. So please go and support them. And, of course, our patrons who we love dearly, the patrons that line Duncan's pockets and get him to come on the show because he hates me, really. We've got our $100 patrons, Botvik, Chris N. Detlef Insomniac, Hyolu, Jerky's Minion, and our $50 patrons, Mowell, Stockley, Sod. Yeah. I was going to say, has he changed his name this week? Manuel Stockley, sorry, brother. Saad Sawar, Daniel Plamanov Yordanov, Pete Bidstrup, Ivan Candido, TC Owens, Carv, Rusty, Ditter Dornhoff Christensen, Nostradamus, Marcus Kyunpa, Madsen, Ollie Ginter Zillen, Colin Penny, Benekagi Sajan, and William Southern. And there you go. That was by the numbers. We should be back next week. But, well, actually, is it gonna overlap with the major? No. Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah, okay. We're good. So
no, but I will be at ESL 1 New York, I think. I'd go on Monday.
I heard you didn't get invited to events anymore.
I know, apparently.
Oh, fucking hell. They must scrape in the bottom of the barrel, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Nightmare. All right, well, we'll figure it out.
We might still be able to do it, though. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. If you want to do it like live from New York, that's fine. We certainly can. We'll figure it out anyway, guys. And as I promised, and as we have been, we've been better at announcing it, and we're going to continue that. So we'll let you know 24 hours in advance. Anyway, thanks to all the people who gave us subs and tuned in and all of that stuff. We'll be back for the No Majors Club, of course. But until then, make sure you take care of yourselves. We'll catch you soon.